Cars have moved out on Talladega Superspeedway, and they're going to take a couple of warm-up laps and then get the green flag. Talladega Superspeedway is a tri-oval, similar shape to Daytona International Speedway. However, it is banked a little steeper and it is faster. As a matter of fact, the Talladega Superspeedway front stretch, actually a tri-oval, is 4,300 feet. The back stretch is 4,000 feet. 33 degrees of banking in the corners, 18 degrees in the tri-oval, and the back stretch is flat. Now let's take a look at the starting grid for today's event. The Busch pole sitter is Ernie Irvan with a speed of 193.298 miles an hour, the fastest since the restrictor plates came along in 1988. On the outside of the front row will be the Daytona 500 pole sitter Loy Allen in the Hooters Ford car 19. Second row, there's Todd Bodine from Chemung, New York in the Factory Stores of America Ford number 75, and Dale Earnhardt in the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet car number 3. The third row consists of Berwick, Pennsylvania's Jimmy Spencer in the McDonald's Ford car 27 and Greg Sachs in the U.S. Air Ford car number 77. The fourth row has Ken Schrader in car number 25 and Michael Waltrip in car 30. Dale Jarrett starts in 9th position in the Interstate Battery Chevrolet car 18, and then Sterling Marlin in the Kodak Film Chevrolet car number 4. Steve Grissom starts 11th in the Diamond Ridge Chevrolet number 29, and then the 21 of Morgan Shepherd, the Citgo Ford. Harry Gant starts 13 in his final spring race here at Talladega. 1 win, 1 pole position in 30 races at this facility. Chuck Bound will start in 14th position in the Relife Ford car number 12. Mark Martin from Batesville, Arkansas goes 15th in car 6, the Valvoline Ford, and Darrell Waltrip has command of the Western Auto Chevrolet starting from 16th position. Ted Musgrave goes next in the Family Channel Ford, car number 16. Then Lake Speed in number 15, the Quality Care Ford. Wallace Brothers in row number 10. It's Mike on the inside in car number 90 and Rusty alongside in number 2. Terry Labonte starts the Kellogg's Cornflake Chevrolet from 21st starting position, and Dave Marcus starts 22nd in the STG Chevrolet. Jeff Bodine starts 23rd in the Exide Batteries Ford car number 7, then Jeremy Mayfield in the Shoney's Ford number 95. Rick Mast starts inside of row number 13, and outside will be Hut Strickland in car number 23. Kyle Petty has the 27th starting position in car number 42, and Brett Bodine in number 26. Jimmy Hensley starts on the inside of row number 15, qualifying at 189.055, and Bill Elliott at 189.044. Derek Cope will begin next inside of row number 16, and alongside will be Jeff Purvis. In the next row will be Ricky Rudd and Jeff Burton. Wally Dallenbach and John Andretti will be in row number 18. The 19th row consists of Joe Nemechek and Dick Trickle. In row number 20, Bobby Hamilton and Jeff Gordon. And the provisional starters today are Bobby Labonte and Kirk Shelmerdine in his first NASCAR Winston Cup race, driving car number 52. And those who didn't make the race and are flipping burgers today include Richie Petty, Rich Bickle, Jimmy Horton, Jim Sauter, Ward Burton, Ronnie Sanders, and Del McCowart. All those were here, failed to qualify fast enough to make the show. We have a whole bunch of in-car cameras for you today. As a matter of fact, 21 in-car cameras will be covering the action for us. That's the camera on top of the Valvoline Ford driven by Mark Martin. There's Derek Cope's in-car camera. We'll give a view of Jimmy Hensley up front and Bill Elliott. Well, the pace car has pulled off. The field is under the command of Ernie Irvan with Loy Allen flanked to his right, and we get set for 188 laps of racing in the Winston Select 500 in Talladega. Glad to have you with us. Sit back and relax and enjoy an afternoon of racing here on ESPN. The green is out. car cameras giving you 21 different views of the action here at Talladega as they remain basically 2x2, some spreading out and making a 3 even. Here's the biggest pack of cars. Harry Gant and Ted Musgrave down on the inside along with Brett Bodine.
We want to get back. Here's the 3 abreast up front. Here's Todd Bodine's in the middle. Jimmy Spencer goes around him. Third, maybe second. He's side by side with Loy Allen.
And Loy Allen so far is doing a great job. 2 laps he's hung in there, running second or third.
And there's Michael Waltrip in the yellow car. He has been caught in the middle. His brother Darrell Waltrip down on the inside. Michael wants to get out of that situation as quickly as he can.
Waltrip remains in the middle as Dale Jarrett is to the inside and Morgan Shepherd to the outside. Up front it is still Ernie Irvan showing the way with a great battle. Spencer and Loy Allen for second, and Darrell Waltrip continues to move up on the inside of the racetrack.
Well, he got an opportunity to go and make it 3 abreast, moving around Ken Schrader.
Darrell started 16th. He is definitely on the way forward.
Inside Darrell Waltrip's car now. Right behind Todd Bodine. As they thunder down into turn 1 again. Loy Allen has secured himself now in second place and gives chase to Ernie Irvan.
We got Ken Schrader in the middle. Losing some positions, and Jimmy Spencer tries to take Earnhardt.
We saw him move out down low to get back up to 2 abreast. Folks, it's not unusual to see them run 2 abreast here for a long period of time.
Earnhardt, is that Earnhardt on the outside of Loy Allen?
Yes, it is. Trying to take over second position, and he will do so. Coming through the tri-oval and heading for the start-finish line again. It's Earnhardt in second, and Jimmy Spencer is down on the inside of the racetrack trying to take third from Loy Allen, but Greg Sachs is going to do so as they go into third.
Oh, and Loy Allen's got himself in a bad position. He's in the middle. Dale Jarrett goes by on the outside. Here comes Darrell Waltrip down on the inside.
And here comes Earnhardt for the lead.
Here below us in the tri-oval. Earnhardt sneaks below. Ernie Irvan races wheel to wheel with him toward turn number 3. Now he's alongside of Sachs for second.
Look what that draft did when Greg Sachs pulled in behind Ernie Irvan, and away they went from Earnhardt. And Spencer, not content to follow Earnhardt, wanted to go by him.
The outside groove might be the best place to be, and it's because they can keep these restrictor plate engines revved up better out there on the outside. They get pinched down a little bit on the inside.
Earnhardt moves up in front of Morgan Shepherd, leaves Jimmy Spencer hung out to dry along with Darrell Waltrip on the inside.
Looking back from Morgan Shepherd's car. Jimmy Spencer on the right. Alongside Spencer down the backstretch.
There's the whole field, folks. You see them all right there in the backstretch.
Jeff Gordon, who started back in 40th position, is in the middle of the field already.
Moving up. He said his car just simply wouldn't qualify, but he felt it would race good. He certainly looks like he knew what he was talking about.
Yes, he could follow. Couldn't push very well, but he could follow well. You see all the cars going by the 90 car. Mike Wallace, the Heilig Myers Furniture car. See Hutch Strickland up on the outside. There's Elliott on the outside trying to get by Hutch Strickland. Red car right in the middle of your screen. And that white car was Dave Martin. Now you're familiar with the blue car, Dave Martin. The white car we just saw by the picture of Martin.
Now Hutch Strickland may have himself in a bad position as he gets squeezed between 2 drivers.
It's inside Bill Elliott's car. He's not turning the steering wheel a great deal. They work hard to make these cars go through the corner where there's very little steering, because they feel like when they turn the steering wheel, they're slowing down. It's Jeremy Mayfield, the white car, right in front of Elliott.
Ernie Irvan continues to lead up front while we watch the action here in the middle of the pack. Greg Sachs is running in second position.
hung in the middle, and these guys going by them on both sides.
You just hold your breath in a case like that. Hope they give you enough room on each side that you can drive the car through the turns.
There is the up front pack being led by Ernie Irvin. Sachs is in second position. Sterling Marlin is third. Then Dale Earnhardt running in fourth position. Todd Bodine is fifth. And then Jimmy Spencer. 7 of 188 laps are complete here at the Winston Select 500. The second 5, Shepard, Spencer, Blake Speed, Dale Jarrett, and Chuck Brown. We'll be back with more of our live coverage from Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama after these messages. Back at Talladega for the Winston Select 500 NASCAR Winston Cup race, number 9 in the series this year. There are 6 cars in the lead draft, but there is just a small space back to another group of 5 cars that are drafting together.
And they're being very disciplined at this time. They're trying to pull away. This group of 5 behind them there is trying to catch up. This group behind them has been racing a lot of side-by-side racing out there. And that's one reason they're dropping back.
It's the black cars, Chuck Bound right in front of Roy Allen. Now the Walter brothers side by side alongside, right behind them, Rusty Wallace, Brett Bodine, Terry Labonte. Inside Darrell Walker's car, that's Rusty right on the outside of him. Brett Bodine has taken 5 or 6 laps this weekend. He's lost 3 engines. It spun yesterday afternoon early on in the last practice.
That Marlin engine to qualify yesterday finally got the job done, but there was a lot of anxious moments in the Kenny Bernstein garage area yesterday. Jeff Gordon, boy, he is moving up nicely. Started 40th on lap 1. He was 34th. The progression continued. Fell back to 37th, but now has moved up to 20th position. Jeff Gordon, car 24.
Inside Jeff Gordon's DuPont Automotive Finishers car, looking at his teammate, Terry Labonte. There he is.
Roy Allen has lost several positions since the start of the race began on the outside of the front row, but as you can see, he's back now, running in the 13th position.
And that's a huge disadvantage that Loy has this year in not qualifying for these races. He still doesn't have a lot of seat time in that car.
Difficult to get experience in races.
Right.
And even that experience he could have gained on the short tracks would have been helpful to him.
Here comes Kyle Petty making it full wide as they head for the start-finish line. Jeff Purvis, Todd Strickland, and Ted Musgrave running along with him.
Figure that out, and guys, obviously there is no good way.
They wanted to figure out who's my best drafting partner. They teamed up with different ones yesterday, mostly by luck. Whoever was out on the track, whoever they could get going off the pit road, and say, hey, we drafted pretty good together. Where is he? He's up somewhere else or back behind me. So I got to find me a new drafting partner. Who's the best to go with project?
Ooh, Michael just slid in between those 2 cars. The yellow car right in front of Derek Coe. These guys are trying to get in line. Some of them are trying to get in line anyway.
There are 4 groups of cars. You're watching the one running toward the back of the pack.
And the 2 groups up front are about to merge.
Here comes Ricky Rudd looking to the inside of Brett Bodine and falling down the back. And Jeff Purvis will go along with him on the bottom.
Jeff Purvis, our winner yesterday in the ARCA Food World 500K. On here at the Speedway yesterday afternoon.
Ernie Irvin continues to lead. We will keep you informed of what's going on up front while the action is followed here in the back. And there is the interval between that group of cars and the lead draft, which now consists of 5 cars. However, again, there's a group of 4 more that are very close behind Jimmy Spencer. And here they come, as a matter of fact, to catch up.
Looks like Morgan Shepherd has brought that group along with him, and they've caught the leaders, and they've left these two guys, Lake Speed and Gerald Garrett, behind just a little. These two guys.
Well, they were right up with them a few laps ago, but they're losing. But there's a group of cars coming up behind them back there that could help them. There we see them coming faster. Jeff Gordon is in that group of cars back there, so Jared and Lake Speed need the help of another car.
Two cars run faster together than one car does. Three cars run faster than two.
And some positions being changed up front.
Earnhardt takes over that second spot. That's Spencer following him. Sachs is back to fourth.
And challenged by that position from Morgan Shepherd. And Jerry Punch has a report on Ernie Irvan, who has led all the way so far.
They can breathe a little bit easier in the Ernie Irvan pit right now, but about an hour and a half ago they were sweating bullets. When they fired the car up in the garage to go through inspection, the car shut off. They knew they had a wiring problem, but they couldn't find it. They unloaded the backup car out of the truck, took the entire wiring harness, everything out, placed it in this car. They were the last car to get online to start the race, and apparently their work is paying off.
Todd Bodine is hung out to dry now on the inside of the track. We're with Mark Martin looking over his left shoulder.
You see just how little effort he does put in the steering wheel. We've been watching the cars on the short track, and we can see, watching just relax, he puts his arm up on. He's going for a Sunday drive.
On a Sunday drive, going to the store.
Yeah.
And now Earnhardt challenges Irvan for the lead, and Jimmy Spencer will go down to the bottom to see if he can tag along, putting Irvan back to at least third. Greg Sachs is going to fall in behind Irvan, so he goes from first to third. Jerry.
Ernie Irvan just radioed the crew that I'm getting very loose with these guys behind me, so let's see what they do in front of me. Ernie Irvan has asked for more spoiler to try to tighten the rear of the car down on the first pit stop.
Jimmy Spencer now looking to the inside of Dale Earnhardt as he's secured second position.
One thing you can almost assure yourself that Earnhardt is going to handle well. Looks like he, Richard Childress, Andy Petrie, car handling as well as any car in the field.
Ken Schrader had a look there inside of Greg Sachs, but decided not to make a move at this time. He falls in behind Sachs.
We saw Schrader going backwards there about 10 laps. He got in the drafting partner with Mark Martin. They have come up through there pretty good.
Looks like Ernie Irvan might have waved those guys behind him by. He does not want to be at the beginning in the middle of this field. Oh, Jeff Bodine has hit the wall hard someplace.
Limping into the pit area, but damage on the right front of that car, extensive damage, and the yellow is out for the first time. Jeff's going to take it behind the wall. He has got some major damage.
Had a crash at Martinsville last week.
You see Ernie Irvan on the inside, just trying to maintain position back to the caution flag.
Everybody off the gas and just settling back to come down and take the caution flag. There's no effort to gain any positions here. Nobody is a lap down yet, so nobody's trying to get that lap back under caution. And Dale Earnhardt leads them down very slowly to take the caution flag, and it'll come on lap number 20. This is the 25th race that Dale Earnhardt has led at Talladega in 31 races.
What do you think, Ned? They got a pit, don't they?
Well, I think for fuel, they've run more than a half of the fuel, or about a half of the fuel stop. So I would think that they need to take this opportunity to get some fuel and maybe to check the tires. I don't think they were concerned about tire wear here today, but it'll give them an opportunity to check them out. And Ernie Irvan probably wants an opportunity to make the adjustment on these cars.
And you know, if all the cars in front of him don't pit, Irvan will probably pit anyway because he looks like needs to adjust that car.
There's Ernie, who led the first few laps of the race before the car got loose on him and he fell back.
Look at that spoiler. They'll push that up. Get a little more pressure back there.
Let's see if we can determine what happened to Jeff Bodine, the reason for our caution. He's already already up against the wall in turns 3 and 4, coming through, and there's a lot of damage to the Exide battery 4. Here's John Kernan.
Waiting for pit stops on pit road. You know, the drivers have complained just a moment ago. Dale Earnhardt complained to Childress, and a couple other drivers have complained to the NASCAR officials, and now they have told security that apparently there have been some objects, can you believe it, folks, objects thrown out of the grandstand that has struck a couple of the cars up front the last time by before the caution came out. Earnhardt said at least a couple of cans struck the side of his car down toward turns 1, entering turn 1. So now security and NASCAR are taking a very long, hard look at something like that. I just can't believe someone would think of that at these speeds or this much at risk. As they come down pit road for the first stop of the day under caution, Dale Earnhardt will be serviced right in front or right behind Ernie Irvan's Haviland Ford Thunderbird. We would expect to see all 4 tires changed. Apparently they're just going to change 2 tires. Car number 28, and now Larry McReynolds pushed the spoiler. You heard Ernie talking about the fact that the car was loose. Earnhardt is down and away 2 tires. Here is Todd Bodine, Greg Sachs, Ernie Irvan, and Jimmy Spencer. They all shuffle back toward turn 1.
Morgan Shepherd is having trouble getting off pit road.
Looks like his car is stalled.
Dick Trickle has to take evasive action coming out, and the Citgo Ford is not moving very much.
Now he finally gets it started, but he's lost all those spots. Base cam on Morgan Shepherd.
Now Morgan has it moving now, so he'll fall into position, but he lost several when the car just wouldn't get off of pit road. We'll take another break and be back. We are under our first caution of the afternoon in the Winston Select 500. The field will get the green flag next time around. There are the safety crews out on the racetrack picking up the cans that have been thrown from the grandstand, and that is absolutely unbelievable. This sport has suffered a major loss today with the death of Ayrton Senna, and if we were to have a crash caused by some fan throwing a can onto the racetrack and any injury at all, I can't imagine the burden that person would carry. I mean, that's just unbelievable that anyone would throw anything on the racetrack.
I came off turn 4 once year, Bob, just a few laps to go in a heavy draft, and a full can of beer hit my windshield directly in front of me. The windshield laid on top of my hand, so I couldn't steer the car. Oh. And I had to slow. Marty Robbins, as a matter of fact, the country western singer, spun through the grass to avoid hitting me when I backed off the throttle suddenly because a can of beer went right through the windshield.
Let's go to John Kernan, who's with Jeff Bodine.
Well, Jeff, they're working on the car on the right side. Blew a tire. What happened? Did you run over a can?
Well, John, you know, I don't know. Let me say I and my wife and 2 boys Barry back home. I'm okay. We're working on our car. Might get her back out there. You know, she's a car owner, so I got to tell her that stuff. You know, if I did, you know, there's been some reports of other drivers that people are throwing things out of the racetrack, especially on that back straightaway. You know, I just plead to the race fans, if you're back there, please don't throw anything out. I obviously ran over something. If it was a can or some just debris on the track, I don't know what it was, but you know, I just plead to these race fans, don't throw things on the track. It's really dangerous. It was really a good thing I was up close to the wall, John. We were all running pretty high. If I'd been down lower, I would have really got hurt bad, but I just brushed the wall and I'm okay. But please, fans, don't throw things at us.
Well said, Jeff. And Bob, thankfully, he is okay.
A person who throws something onto the racetrack in a car is not a race fan. He's a race idiot. Look at the pit summary. Earnhardt stayed where he was. Spencer from 2nd to 4th. Sack stayed where he was. Todd Bodine from 8th to 2nd. And Rusty Wallace made a 3-position move. Once again, that Rusty Wallace pit crew doing a great job, moving him up 3 positions as the field gets the green flag.
And look at Todd Bodine push Earnhardt.
Boy, he is all over.
Trying his best to try to get away from the field as best they can, but unfortunately the field has caught up to them.
Still in the lead lap, of course, accepting Jeff Bodine. 41 cars in the lead lap.
As fast as his car is, he might need some help to catch back up to that group. There might be enough ground off that he could catch up.
Coming out of the pits, he came out like 24th or something. He would have been
standing there on the inside behind Ted Musgrave. And Jerry Punch has more on that story.
I just spoke with Eddie Wood, and apparently it was nothing major, just as the car stalled and dropped it off the jack and Morgan began to lead. But a stall here cost you about 5 or 6 seconds, and you can see right now what it cost him on the racetrack.
You bet. It cost him a lot of positions, and now he has to get back to max speed.
That's a good fast race car, but you usually on this racetrack you run the speed of the group that you're running with.
See Sachs going by Spencer. Got on the outside of him going in turn 3. Now then, Ernie Irvin's going to try to do the same thing.
Todd Bodine with a great run in second position. He's knocking on Earnhardt's door, John Kernan.
Yes, he is, Bob, and as we told you at the top of the show, that car led 7 laps at Daytona. He was caught up in a wreck. They had to replace everything from the firewall on up to the nose of the car. But Todd said that the car perfectly. They were fast as soon as they unloaded down the truck. And another thing, the pit stops that they've been working on, they had been changing 10 sets of tires a day, but that took too long. They've been concentrating and changing their efforts to 4 tire change practice, and they're getting better and better. Todd says they've gone from the mid-20 to 25 seconds all the way down into the 19s and 18.5s.
Now a huge pack of cars form, and they're going 3 abreast, and everybody has a drafting partner, it seems like. Now they go into 2 abreast formation.
Again, in the middle of that red car, Dick Trickle doesn't have one. As Ernie Irvin and Todd Bodine trying to take the lead from Earnhardt. Oh, Ernie said, uh-oh, I don't think so.
Look at Spencer come to the inside and take tucked in behind Earnhardt and Irvin where there wasn't a space. Right out with Mark Martin.
They'll just go right on back. Todd Bodine. Let's see if he can get back in line.
Sure would like to, wouldn't he?
Yeah. But Ernie came down in front of him, so that happened.
Spencer now looking inside as Irvin and Todd Bodine follow. And Spencer goes to the front, or tries. Let's see if he can pull it off.
What a tough spot.
Yeah, he is. If he can pull that off, then they're running by himself. He has a strong car. I talked to him at the motel this morning when he said the car was running awfully good. Man, to sit down there by himself and those cars in line up there above him, and he's staying right with them.
Sure is.
Paul Maitland's car was handling perfectly. He said it's right on the bottom of the racetrack. As we can see, that's where he's running.
Dale Jarrett didn't do it a bad job. Look at him drafting with, who is it, Trickle?
Trickle, yes.
Yeah, and so they're down there and they picked up the draft with Spencer. Now they might be able to get up there and help Spencer if they can get to him.
In the meantime, Spencer has lost 3 or 4 spots. Now those 2 cars have cost Spencer. Let's see if they can go forward.
Yesterday morning, Jarrett and Spencer hooked up together out here and ran in the 48-second bracket.
As we go in the corner, he goes a shorter distance, so Spencer does pull alongside these cars, but looks like they're dropping back from the inside.
Yeah, there are 2 groups now. This is the lead.
The only advantage of running on the inside is the fact that it's shorter around there. And Ernie Irvin's had an advantage of that short distance and moving around Dale Earnhardt. But normally the outside road is the better because you can keep the engine wound up better up there.
So obviously the adjustment they made on Irvin's car on that pit stop helped because he's back up front. And now the battle for second is between Bodine and Dale Earnhardt.
I already love to see this guy just race side by side from now on.
Oh, yeah. He just will be able to pull away.
Great shot from Mark Martin's car. There's Jarrett to the left.
Everyone has a drafting partner. Just like the RPMs and speed. 93. You can see how it doesn't accelerate down the straightaway. He holds that speed constantly. When he goes in the corner now, he'll slow down just a little bit as he goes in the corner. 185 is the slowest speed we've seen. 185 to 194.
And that's not because he's backing off. He's just scrubbing off that speed.
That's the way around the corner. Oh, look up there. Spencer Bodine touch. And Trickle down to the inside makes it 3 wide with Jarrett and Martin.
Ooh. Don't like to see that.
Especially when your son is right in the middle of it.
Get up there on that outside, Dale.
There's Sterling Marlin on the very right of your screen. That yellow car, the Kodak Film Chevrolet, the Daytona 500 winner.
He's going for a $100,000 bonus today, and of course, if he can win 3 of the big 4, the 2 remaining races at Charlotte and Darlington, he can win $1 million. And look at Rusty Wallace move up.
He's got Schrader right on his back bumper, and Schrader was one of the faster cars earlier. And look at Jeff Gordon up on the outside, going around Terry Labonte.
This is the Kellogg's DuPont in-car carried by Jeff Gordon.
I know, folks, it doesn't appear as these cars are running 195 miles an hour, but they are. And meanwhile, Ernie Irvin is back in 5th spot, and Greg Sachs, the Jasper Engine US Air car, has taken the lead.
Here's Morgan Shepherd. He's moving up, fellas, from where he came out of the pits. And there's Wally Dallenbach.
Boy, this is just hold your breath racing, isn't it? When they're running like this.
Oh, it is.
For those of you who just joined us, this is not the first or second lap of the race. We're 31 in, and the field is still all bunched together. Greg Sachs is the leader at the moment. Dale Earnhardt and Ernie Irvin behind him, and Sachs apparently did not change tires during that first pit stop, which was under caution.
I don't think Todd about that.
We'll be back with more live coverage from Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama. ESPN Speed World back at the Winston Select 500 at Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama. And it is Ernie Irvin who is back up front with Earnhardt now second. And look at Wally Dallenbach, who has moved to 5th position.
Wow. And didn't qualify the first day. They picked up some speed. They had some type of ignition problem or something. They picked up some speed on the second car, qualified about 25th or so. And you're right. He's in the middle with no one to help. And he's going straight backwards. And while we're on commercial, Rusty Wallace did the same thing. Ooh, and Spencer has to get out of the gas as he goes in the corner, and Todd Bodine moves up in front of him. Meanwhile, Mark Martin's in that same position.
He's moving back from about 7th, 8th position back to about 20th.
Now Mark goes to the right and falls in behind the body.
There has to be somebody breaking that air in front of you. Otherwise, you just can't run at this place.
Speed is going to have to swell into the position to get left out. There's an auto right field summary. They were running last lap.
Is that changing every lap, about every half a lap? But that's where they were the last time around.
Car behind the wall right now, and only one car that is not on the lead lap, and that is Jeff Bodine, who continues to work on his car after hitting the wall in turn 3.
That's Mike Wallace in 90. When we went to commercial a moment ago, he got caught in the middle and could not do anything about it. He just went straight to the back. Jared did the same thing. And I see the 28th spot. There's Bill Elliott back there. There's the leaders of our race. It looks like all the cars are basically caught on to the lead draft right now.
And there are really 4 cars that are not in what you would have to consider the lead draft. Dick Trickle is now in 4th position after a 3rd place start. He has quickly moved up to 4th place. Jerry Punch has more on Dick Trickle's run.
And Trickle continues to move toward the front, and there's maybe a good reason for it. Richard Schumer's just told me that they loaned Dick Trickle Dale Earnhardt's qualifying engine that he used to qualify with here on Friday. He said, now, that may have been a mistake because Trickle is within 2 cars of passing us up front. So we're glad he's running well, but right now he has the engine that the 3 car used to qualify here on Friday.
I saw Terry Elledge, engine guy for Richard Childress, down working on his car and wondered what the deal was.
That may come back along the run.
Yeah, I understand that.
Boy, it's so nice to see some drivers running up front that we haven't seen run up front very much this year, including Trickle and Wally Dallenbach here in this lead draft.
I'm impressed with how quickly that the 77 car, D.K. Ulrich, Greg Sachs, they put this team together. This is a brand new team this year.
Wally Dallenbach in Richard Petty's car started 35th. Has been as low as 36th, currently in 5th position.
35th he started. Huh.
Yep. And that is a team that needs a good performance.
Exactly. I was talking about Loy Allen. There's another guy, Dallenbach. His team has been so depressed at the lack of success they've had.
The long trip is to the high side of Ken Schrader back to that stretch as Jeff Gordon goes to the low side of Sterling Marlin.
And they've got Schrader in the middle. Schrader has a drafted partner with Todd Bodine now, but Todd's going to peel off and go with the 4-car and lead for Kenny by himself.
This is out the back of Jeff Gordon's car.
Now Skipper Ray Everett in the corner cruising with Jeff Gordon's car. I saw that camera in the back, and since they started 40th, I said, Ray, what are they going to show with that camera? There's nothing but air behind you. But I see, he's in the middle of the back now. Look at 6th spot, 40th to 6th.
They're about to lap Kirk Shelmerdine and Jimmy Means' car. I said earlier that this is Kirk's first NASCAR Winston Cup race. It is his first race as really a competitor. He did start a race back in 1980 at Texas. But this is his first time as a competitor, one who's trying to move up. John Kernan has more on the 77 car, Greg Sachs.
Well, you know, Vinny was talking about how amazed he was this D.K. Ulrich team had come together so quickly. Greg Sachs was telling me this morning that they thought they had made a mistake over the winter. They put all their eggs in one basket by working on the Daytona car, getting it ready to go to the Daytona 500. Well, they wound up finishing 7th. Since then, they've left that car sitting in the corner of the shop. They haven't even worked on it until this weekend. They got ready to take it here to Talladega. They put all their concentration and effort now on getting the rest of their program together. But right now, they're running very well today. And, you know, Greg has had some really good runs on some of the short tracks. He's just had a little bad luck.
But he always seems to run here well at Talladega.
He does. He likes these high-speed racetracks.
Spencer trying to take that McDonald's car back to the front. And he passes Dallenbach and the 25 car of Kenny Schrader.
And another driver who loves to run at high speed and draft is Terry Labonte, and he's right behind Ken Schrader.
As a matter of fact, a lap ago, he came up on Ken Schrader, had an opportunity to draft by, but he didn't. He decided to fall in behind him as opposed to putting Schrader back in the middle again. And maybe they could hook up together and do some damage to the other drivers running that way as opposed to
There's a certain skill to drafting, and Benny, a lot of people have told me that Terry is among the best. You agree with that?
I mean, I think that any of these guys in the top 20 are, I don't see any difference in them, really. I mean,
Terry does have a lot of experience, and he's good.
Look at Jeff Gordon. I mean, this guy, this 2nd year, and how can we argue with the job he's done? 40th year he is, where, 4th?
Yep. All the way from 40th starting position.
Jeff Gordon said his car would not lead very well. He could follow it, but we'll see what happens if he should get in front, if it was telling us the truth or not.
This is from his in-car camera.
Once again, we see not much effort. Let that car go through the corner. guess he was,
Probably waving to Spencer to either stay behind or whatever, because that 5-car pack is about to break away from those behind him, and so it would be to their advantage to stay together and run the single file.
wow. No, he passed him up there where nobody goes. I'll tell you that.
No man's land. 144 laps to go in the 188 lap Winston Select 500 at Talladega Superspeedway. It's Irvin, Earnhardt, Sachs, Gordon, and Spencer. Winston Select 500 at Talladega, Alabama is still under green at 46 laps with Ernie Irvin leading Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon.
See these cars getting lined up trying to catch his lead pack. Meanwhile, they're 2x2 back behind these guys. Ever see John Andretti, the last car in that pack, the red car? You know, I talked about just a moment ago a pass he made.
Yep.
I think we had this on replay, and I want you to see this, Bob.
Watch the far right of your screen.
There he is.
I will roll it, and you will see that he was indeed in no man's land.
I thought Derek Cope was high, and he passed him on the outside.
Not nothing for nerve, is he?
No, he's certainly
We're right up there.
John's running 21st at the moment. He started 36th, and that was his lowest, and his highest is 16th.
Now he's in the middle between Jarrett and Dave Marcus, and like he's up to the rear of this field.
Yep. Unless he can slide in there behind Bobby Hamilton. Meanwhile, up front, a change of position as Dale Earnhardt comes off of the second corner and takes the lead from Ernie Irvin.
Now, wait a minute. He's trying to take the lead.
You don't think he's going to have the lead by the time he gets to turn 3?
I don't know. I'm just telling you he's trying. Ernie's kind of by himself. We talk about the makes. There's a Chevrolet, one Ford, and first Sachs. Oh, there he is. We finally found another Ford back there. And there's a Pontiac. Greg Sachs and Michael Walker together.
Just a lap or two ago, those front 3 cars had pulled away from that other pack, but they pulled right up to them. Yeah, Earnhardt has the lead when he goes by this time.
Sterling Marlin will go to the inside of Ken Schrader, and Jeff Gordon will fall in behind him. They pick up the draft, and now Marlin challenges Earnhardt for the lead.
Wow. That was impressive.
He did it.
That was impressive.
The 4-car always runs strong here at Talladega. Sterling Marlin is another driver who likes to.
And Jeff Gordon is going to try to take over second from Earnhardt.
These guys, they're just lined up like a start of a race right behind Sterling Marlin. There's the rear shot out of Jeff Gordon's car. Looking back at both of his teammates. We've got all 3 of Rick Hendrick's cars in that one shot. The camera on Gordon's car and Labonte and Schrader right behind.
They're running second, fourth, and fifth.
The Ford's Todd Bodine has worked his way back up to about 7th on the outside.
And Jeff Gordon will try to take the lead from Marlin.
Talking about Todd Bodine, Benny, he was about 15th or so, about 7 or 8 laps ago. Look at the 75 car, the factory store from America car on the outside there.
That'll move certainly did not work for Gordon.
No, it didn't work very well. Now Ernie has moved back to the high side of the racetrack. That was back on the inside. Still not on the outside.
We're trying to find a place where that Ford will run best. And they're just getting a little loose with it again.
It might be doing that, Ned.
Now we see Todd Bodine in fourth and Jeff Gordon in fifth. And of course, those two had a meeting in Daytona.
There are 27 cars in this lead pack. 2/3 of the field.
One thing about when Ernie runs down there, well, he's going to pull up in front of Greg Sachs. I started to say, running on the bottom of the racetrack like that, there's no cars right behind him to loosen him up, so that might be a good place for him to run. If he is having another problem getting loose. We run about 25 laps on this green flag segment.
No, yeah, we've run about 30 laps.
Look at this. We're at 186 mile an hour pace. The race record is, and we're at a pace of 173.9.
186 was not a caution flag during that race as Earnhardt's going for the lead.
Taking the lead, Todd Bodine comes to second, and Gordon could very well come to third.
And Todd Bodine, another car who did not change tires on that pit stop, went out 52 laps, same tires he started with. You see the social sponsor on the back of that car, Adidas. Is that how you pronounce that, Bob?
That's correct, BP.
Behind Earnhardt, they're lined up for about 12 cars. Well, as I said, they all started getting too abreast. Ernie and Marlin. Ernie's going to make it 3 abreast.
We got him a run going in there. And made the pass.
And Sterling needs to quickly move down behind Ernie before Greg Saxon get on the inside and make him 3 abreast. We've seen what that will do.
It moves back up to third.
Ernie and Todd Bodine trying to take a look. Jerry, is Ernie getting loose again?
Yes, Benny. In fact, it is getting a little bit loose now. That's why he dropped back a minute ago, trying to keep from having so many cars right on his rear bumper. And he has asked the crew down here, Larry McReynolds, to try to give him a little more spoiler to tighten it up. In fact, he almost lost the car a minute ago. Ernie said he had to back completely down on the throttle when Sterling Marlin came up and came in front of him. Ernie said he cut me off pretty bad, but I held on.
And we saw Ernie Irvin's crew talking to the crew of Sterling Marlin there, just a shot out. That's what they were talking about.
Looking ahead to Sterling Marlin from Jeff Gordon's car.
For the lead, Todd Bodine.
How about that?
Factory Stores of America takes the lead.
Irvin goes to second. Here comes Sterling Marlin to pass Earnhardt for third.
Didn't quite make it. I don't think Sterling made it.
He's by himself, so probably will.
Trouble.
Yep.
Outside is going to drive right on by.
Terry Labonte, Kenny Schrader trying to get hooked up on the outside.
So Todd Bodine has moved into the lead. Very impressive run for Bodine. We got a long way to go to this win. 55 laps are complete, 133 to go with Bodine leading. We'll be right back in just a moment. Ed Jarrett, Benny Parsons, John Kernan, Dr. Jerry Punch back at Talladega Superspeedway for the Winston Select 500. Todd Bodine hangs on to the lead. He's been challenged a couple of times while you were in the pit while we were on the break. However, he has managed to hold on to it. Jerry, pit stops will be coming up. What's the strategy down there?
Bob, pit stops will be coming up around lap 70 to 71. That's about 10 or 11 laps from right now. And everyone's starting to go-see-do down here. Pick their dancing partners. We've already had a couple people from other pits to come up here toward the Earnhardt pit. In fact, Earnhardt is hoping to possibly hook up with Jeff Gordon, the youngster who he is so impressed with as his talents, and possibly the two of them come down and pit. You got to have a dancing partner to pit and basically get back in the draft. So in about 10 laps from now, we'd expect to see most of the lead cars make an entry on the pit road. How about up where you are, John Kernan?
Jerry, I just talked to Troy Selberg, the crew chief for Todd Bodine. I asked him if he had made any arrangements with anyone to pit. He said, no, we haven't even talked about that yet. He says we've got a good car, a good motor, but we're having a lot of problems finding friends here on pit road.
So So you got to have a drafting partner on the track, and you got to have one to make a pit stop also. Now, Ernie Irvan got hung out to dry a half a lap ago, and now Jeff Gordon is.
Down and hung out. He was hung in the middle of the racetrack, and that's the worst place you can be. He gets back in line now.
You see Irvin back there in about 10th, 12th spot. And thank God for Mark Martin. He'd be further back. Mark let him in coming off the second corner.
Bodine continues to lead, and behind him a 2-by-2 situation, and that helps him. Marlin and Earnhardt. Now here comes Sterling to the inside. Hey, look at Michael Waltrip is up there.
Coming with Sterling Marlin. Sterling Marlin has a fast race car.
But he still couldn't make that pass. No, he couldn't. Just couldn't do it. Todd stayed up there on the outside. Kept that momentum up.
Todd running high in this corner. Seems to run well. He runs low in the first and second corner. So it looks like he's going to carry the last place he wants to go.
There are 40 cars on the lead lap and 29 in the lead draft as we approach lap number 61.
Now there's Sachs back in third place. I thought he was hung out to dry about 10 laps ago.
He has a fast race car, too.
There's an aerial view of all the cars in the lead draft. Look at them. They fill almost the entire backstretch. Earnhardt grabs the lead away from Todd Bodine as they come off of corner number 4 and into the tri-oval.
Immediately slid right up in front of him.
I believe that's a draft of about 30 cars.
It doesn't take long to lose or gain when you're in or out of the draft. Michael Waltrip started 8th. Look, he was back to 20th on the 30th lap, but he has now moved back up into 5th position.
But he's losing spots quickly. Now back to about 7th or 8th. Hung on the inside. Here comes Dale Jarrett trying to help him.
Well, they had Sterling Marlin and Jimmy Spencer down there. They decided to get on the outside lane because they were not doing that much good down on the inside. But here comes another group down on the inside led by Greg Sachs. He and Earnhardt almost to get together. Marlin and Gordon almost to get together.
And Wally Dallenbach gets on the inside, puts Sterling in the middle again.
Not a good place to be.
3 wide down to the tri-oval again. Well, it looks like we're set up for some green flag pit stops. We've only had one caution so far today. That was for a crash involving Jeff Bodine. He's okay. What we could have, though, in the next few laps, green flag pit stops. We want to go back and cover those, so we'll take another break and be right back for more live coverage from Talladega on the Winston Select 500. Stay with us. We're back at Talladega, and a warm welcome to the MCI Proof Positive Blimp and its crew today, being led by Captain Matt Elkins of Dallas, Texas, with the aerial shots of, again, a change of leader as Todd Bodine got caught out of the draft and went from first back to, what, about 5th or so? It is now Jeff Gordon battling with Dale Earnhardt, and again, the Hendrick cars are right up there, 1st, 3rd, and 4th.
Terry Labonte and Kenny Schrader.
I'll tell you one thing, you just can't tell much by qualifying here in Talladega because you wouldn't have looked at the qualifying order and said that Hendrick car would be in this position 65, 66 laps into the race.
Especially Jeff Gordon, who was really sweating yesterday in the garage area after he only made it into the field as the slowest qualifier in 40th position. Here's Dr. Punch.
Gentlemen, I asked Ray Evernham, the crew chief for Jeff Gordon, just about that same question a minute ago. He said, you know, at Hendrick Motorsports, we may sacrifice a little bit in qualifying, but we build our cars a little added downforce so they will drive very, very stably in heavy traffic and handle the air. We know our drivers are very good in the draft, particularly Jeff Gordon, so we figure if our car is stable, if we can get in the field, which they barely did here at Talladega, the car will come to the front and hurry the car anyway.
He hit the nail on the head with that prediction, that's for sure. Now Marlin goes in behind Michael Waltrip and Ernie Labonte serial started 21st, 13th, 10th, 6th, 6th, and now 2nd.
And I had the nerve to ask Ray Abraham last night what was wrong with his car. And he shook his head and said, I don't know, just won't run.
All right, we have 2 cars now headed toward pit road as Bobby Labonte and Wally Dallenbach come in.
Couple of Pontiacs.
Jerry Punch is there.
And as expected, a couple of Pontiac dancing partners. They go to work on the right side of both those cars. Bobby Labonte, really big one he had here last year in the July event. Running out of gas with a lap to go. We ended up missing a top 10 finish. Well, right side tires on. Wally Dallenbach is down and away. And 16.8 seconds as they leave the Maxwell House Pontiac. Looks like Earnhardt and everyone else further up pit road is getting ready to make an entry.
While these guys scramble out of the pits, the lead draft is approaching quickly, being led by Jeff Gordon. Jeff's best finish in his last 4 races, 15th at North Wilkesboro after 3 top 10s in the first 4 races of '94, and Ted Musgrave comes in for a pit stop all by himself. John?
Bob, they'll make a chassis adjustment on the right rear. They'll be right side tires only. They didn't have a dancing partner, a drafting partner, so this could cost them unless they can get back out and fall in with some of the other cars. They're waiting for the second can of gasoline to go in, and Ted Musgrave is down to a race 16.2 seconds from 2 and 2 cans of gas.
And Channel 4 goes back in competition. And again, the lead draft on the car number 4. Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon appear to be pitting together.
Yeah, a lot of cars are coming off of the track on pit road right now.
Man,
They got to slow down to stay under the speed limit. What do we got? About a dozen or so cars.
Dale Jarrett's already stopped, so as Jeff Purvis, Earnhardt comes to a stop. Michael Waltrip, Jerry Punch.
And they had a little bit of wedge in Earnhardt's car, trying to tighten it up a little bit. The word up and down pit road was, even if you don't have a dancing partner, you come when Earnhardt comes. That's what about 11 other cars have just done. Earnhardt down and away, right side tires, 2 rounds of wedge. He is headed back for turn 1. Behind him is Mark Martin and Michael Waltrip. And Morgan Shepherd is also out. There's a tire on pit road, but they are able to miss it. Dale Jarrett goes around it. Everyone looks like right side tires down toward our end of pit road.
Morgan Shepherd, of course, is pitted down toward turn number 1, the last pit stall, and so he was out quickly. He's going to fall into 2nd position behind Earnhardt. John Kernan has a story on Loy Allen.
Okay, Loy Allen came in. The tire from the right front on Dale Jarrett's car was in his way. He could not get into his pit. He had to pull him fast into Sachs's pit. Back up. It cost him a lot of valuable time. Greg Sachs now on pit road. 2 tires. Right side tires as Todd Bodine is also floating down pit road. Sachs kills the car. Gets into 53, fires it. Takes off down pit road. Todd Bodine has been in for right side tires. He will head down, as will Jeff Burton, who's also been in for 2 tires.
Both Burton and Sachs, of course, are running the Hoosiers here this afternoon. There's Jeff Burton as he comes out. And this is the lead draft as Michael Waltrip is now the leader.
Well, no, Michael made a pit stop. Ernie Irvan is the leader.
Okay.
Michael just got back in the lead lap. Ernie Irvan has not pitted yet. So a bunch of those cars are lapped down, those that have pitted. Ernie Irvan will be coming in before too long, real soon. In case there would be a caution, that they can stay on the lead lap.
It looks like he's coming in now. He's on the bottom of the racetrack like he's planning on coming down pit road, but
who's going to be his partner? No, I don't think he's coming in.
tell you what, if they get him on the outside, he'll never be able to get the pits.
Jerry, what's the story down there?
Well, what we are hearing down here is NASCAR apparently has said that possibly the car number 75 and the car number 8 may require a stop-and-go penalty for too fast on pit road. We also might mention that Chuck Bounds, Bobby Allison Ford, comes down pit road, the Big B drug-sponsored Ford Thunderbird, and is not underpowered. The car is coasting down pit road. As here's the car number 42 of Kyle Petty, the mellow yellow Pontiac, and Darrell Waltrip in the Western Auto Chevrolet. Right side tires on Kyle Petty as Sterling Marlin now heads down pit road and trying to get the jump down car retired. Marlin pitting already completed his pit work. Right side tires going on Darrell Walton's car. And you see Darrell Walton flushing auto through as Kyle Petty now goes zipping down. And right side tires are on that car number 17. Now here's Ernie Irvin, car number 28. Remember, Ernie said the car was still very, very loose. Car number 75, we mentioned Todd Bodine in a stop and go. He is coming by. Terry Labonte right car is sitting with about 3 spots in front of Ernie Irvin. They're pushing the rear spoiler up on the Haviland Ford Thunderbird. 1 can of fuel in. Second can of fuel goes in. Right side tire. Ernie Irvin is down away 11.5, and they're still now to pull the jack from beneath Terry Labonte's car as he goes out, and he will follow in the Kodiak Chevrolet. As Russ Wallace getting his right side tire changed, brings his Ford back to bear in turn 1.
But meanwhile, Dale Earnhardt and this group that are hooked up together are going to pass Ernie Irvin before he can get his car back up to speed. As a matter of fact, he might be well, maybe he will be up to speed by the time they get to him. He's just coming off turn 2 as they enter turn 2. Earnhardt, Sachs, Morgan Shepherd. Taylor's guys with the Citgo team had a great pit stop.
Yes, they did.
Jeff Gordon remains in the lead track, so is Mark Martin.
Where's Ernie? He should be right there. Right in front. There's Ernie.
So he's going to get his speed up. It looks like then he'll be able to blend in with. He doesn't have his speed totally up. They're running faster than he is, but by the time they catch him, his speed is going to be almost equal to theirs, so he'll be able to hang right with them. See Schrader's leading up right behind Ernie Irvin, and you can see that they have the momentum. He'll fall into that group somewhere along the way.
Tough break. I don't know if we've reported that Todd Bodine and Jeff Burton both had a stop-and-go penalty for speeding on pit road. Tough break for those two competitors.
Yeah, we've got that big group that we had up front have been separated. Now we see this group of cars up front. They're 3, 6, 8 in that group, and then about 3 seconds behind them is another big group of cars that has about a dozen or so.
All right, let's run through the top 10 for you here since we have had the pit stops and positions have changed. The leader is
Irvin, Earnhardt, Greg Sachs, Morgan Shepherd, Jeff Gordon, Kenny Schrader, Mark Martin, Ricky Rudd, and who's that? Is that Jeremy Mayfield? He must be a lap down.
on the table. I think it is, but he's a lap down.
And then it's Terry Labonte, Wally Dallenbach, Sterling Marlin, Michael Walton, the next car. Jeff Gordon go through the corner, and we can see his windshield getting pitted. As the sand goes up, hits the windshield, it's sandblasting. It's very difficult for the drivers to see, particularly late in the race.
But your eyes do adjust to some degree as you go along. It's not like when we see it there and say, man, how does he see? But his eyes have adjusted to some degree.
It happens so gradual that the drivers do adjust, as Ned said.
Side-by-side racing here between Ken Schrader and Morgan Shepherd.
Right behind Morgan Shepherd, trying to push him, get him going.
Well, there's a big difference, isn't
They
it?
like to do that.
77 laps completed here at Talladega. And it's Ernie Irvin, Dale Earnhardt, Greg Sachs, Jeff Gordon, and Morgan Shepherd, the top 5 after 77 laps.
I bought my car new in 1970. I drove a hockey team 190-mile round trip 3 times a week.
Haviland Formula 3 from Texaco.
I took good care of it. And when I reached 300,000, I thought, I've got me a pretty good car.
No other leading motor oil offers more complete protection to help your car run better, last longer.
At 600,000, I thought, maybe it could be the Haviland.
Haviland Formula 3. Why add just any motor oil? Add more life to your car.
They hate to be late. Traffic makes them mad. And and waiting makes them furious. Sound familiar? Then drive through McDonald's for breakfast. It's fresh, hot, delicious, and served at top speed so you can get back in the race.
Mess with me.
This is the showroom where we sell the most Ford trucks. It's called the real world, and the only salesman is the truck itself. In fact, our trucks have sold so many people on Ford, we have more repeat buyers than any other truck, which isn't surprising. Because at Ford, we've always figured that if you make a habit of building better trucks, people will make a habit of driving them. Ford F-Series. For 17 straight years, the best-selling trucks are built Ford tough.
This lithograph and many other items will be available to you following today's Winston Select 500 from Talladega. NASCAR Shop Talk here on ESPN with our special guest, Jeff Gordon, driver of the DuPont Chevrolet. Hope you can join us.
Jeff doing a fine job on the racetrack. He's in 4th position right now. We're riding along right beside him. Another Cranfield summary.
Back in that second
There he is.
cars, yeah. But he was,
I thought he was about 10th or 11th a moment ago. I don't know if he has a problem or what. I see Bobby Labonte in 26, took a provisional today.
Roy Allen back in 33rd position after a second place start. And now the cars that have fallen a lap down. We have 35 and are still on the lead lap. Jeff Bodine remains behind the wall, trying to get his car fixed after an encounter with the third turn wall. Urban leads Earnhardt here with Greg Sachs, Jeff Gordon, Morgan Shepherd, and Mark Martin all hooked up together. Now let's go back to the second pack of cars.
There goes Rick Mast. He got down just a moment ago, and there's that second group. Sterling Marlin leading those guys around.
Jeff Purvis down on the inside in 51, along with Jimmy Spencer.
Jimmy Hensley on the outside. Good run for Jimmy.
And for Jeff.
Yes.
Those paint schemes will knock your eyeballs out, won't they? By the way, it has become very sunny here now. The skies have cleared up nicely since the race started.
you said it would get better this afternoon.
Yep, and it is.
You taking John Kern's place as the
not only
forecast
weather, so can I.
Derek Cope right in the middle of our screen. The finger up to Cale Yarborough's entry.
By the way, this is Cale's 200th race as a car owner.
That car on the outside is Jimmy Hensley. In case you didn't recognize it, it was painted that way in Martinsville last week.
Petrol Plus. Spot from that track.
Steve Grissom, the green and white number 29.
Steve had himself a good qualifying run. Started 11th here today.
Didn't the governor proclaim it Steve Grissom Day in Alabama?
Gadsden, Alabama. Not too far from here. Started 11th. It's been his highest position. He's currently running in 20th. Back up front, it's still Irvin leading. The battle is for third position.
Jeff Gordon, Morgan Shepherd has got on the outside of Greg Sachs. Sachs was third the last time we saw him. Now he's fifth, going for sixth.
And it could be more than that.
Martin's making it eighth.
Looking back from Morgan Shepherd's car.
If they got that 21 car full of fuel.
Well, he made an awfully fast pit stop. Good brothers are awfully good at that.
I still got to figure where this shot is to proceed. Where is it located?
Benny, it's where you would normally think your license plate would go, right in the middle of the...
In the rear bumper?
Yeah.
Okay.
traffic here. Dave Marcus is in the middle of that pack.
Man.
It's John Andretti in the middle of that particular group of cars, along with Dallenbach in speed. John's doing okay, though. He's being shown in 14, 15, 14, 15, now 3 wide as Derek Cope goes inside.
And Dave Marcus decides to go with Cope. Rusty Wallace back behind this group. And remember Genuine Draft Ford. There he is, right behind is that Lake Speed. Ted Westbrook on the inside. Rusty Wallace. Bobby Hamilton, the Kendall Oil Pontiac. Number 40, the black car. There he is.
And Harry Gant about to go a lap down.
The 8 car of Jeff Gordon also is a lap down. The Augustus car.
Gary is being shown in 34th position and a lap down.
And not too far away from going a lap down is the car number 75 of Todd Bodine, who was caught up for that penalty, had to go back in, and he's just sitting out there running right in front of the leaders. Nobody to draft with, so this B group is going to run him down before too long.
Boy, a costly penalty for Bodine. He was running so well in the early stages of the race. But his speeding penalty has put him nearly a lap down in 33rd.
But I want to race you guys anyway.
Yeah, this group of cars, that's good, Bob, had been really racing. Last time we saw them, they were side by side. Now the group has broken away from part of that bunch of cars, and they lined up single file. They've been losing ground to the lead pack, so they want to see if they can line up single file here and cut out some of that distance.
As long as everybody remains patient and getting in too big a hurry, they might be able to do so.
And you know, folks, I realize it doesn't appear like they're running 193, 194 miles an hour. They are.
And here's another group that needs to line up, and maybe they can catch the group ahead of them.
Yeah, they were part of that group ahead of them not too long ago, and they kept racing back there. Now, the other group got single file, so they pulled away, and this group still, some of them running side by side, and that hurts you.
Mike Wallace is highly fired.
Bobby Hamilton.
I think it's Walker. Wallace right now is 30th and Waltrip 29th.
Oh, okay.
Todd Bodine has went a lap down, and Earnhardt is trying to get by Ernie Irvin. And here's Jeff Gordon trying to help Earnhardt.
Look at the last lap speed for Irvin, 193.4. That is faster than he qualified, but that's not uncommon.
And Todd Bodine is going to would like to hook on with Ernie Irvin and let these two guys get away from. Let Irvin get the lead back, and maybe Ernie would give him a break if it goes. I speculated just a moment ago. Did the 21 car get their car full of fuel on that last pit stop?
Benny, yes, they did. I checked with Lynn Wood back here. You know, back in the old days when they just changed 2 tires, there were none better on pit road than the Wood brothers. Well, that's what we just saw a minute ago, a 2-tire stop. He said, hey, we may not be the best when it comes to 4 tires. We haven't quite got it down, but when it comes to 2 tires, we're steering awfully quick. And that's exactly what happened. 2 tires, and yes, they got it full of fuel.
Irvin continues to lead. He's now led 51 of the first 89 laps. Earnhardt is running second. We'll be right back with more of our coverage of the Winston Select 500. Back at Talladega, we are riding with Morgan Shepherd. who is running in 5th position in the Winston Select 500. Well, one thing, as we documented earlier, that has changed down through the years in NASCAR Winston Cup racing is the activity on pit road.
This is the Wood brothers back in 1971. Delano Wood jacking the car up. Kenny Martin putting the fuel in the car. Guess who's driving that car, Bob?
I hesitate to guess, but I'll bet it's Benny Parsons.
That's me. There's Glenn Wood cleaning the windshield. Leonard Wood on the right front tire. Right rear's going on. Taking the lug nuts off their belt. They didn't glue them on back then. They had to start them. And watch as Leonard Wood goes around the car. I almost run over him. Watch this.
And he's keeping those revs up. Oh! How long did it take back then?
That's probably 20 seconds.
And where was that? Do you know?
That was in Daytona.
In Daytona?
1971.
Where'd
Donnie.
you finish?
I don't know if they won that race or not. Donnie was the driver of the car then. He was in Ontario or someplace for an IndyCar race.
Yep.
And I rode across that pit stop.
And here's more from Jerry Punch.
Now, Benny Parsons, I asked Leonard Wood about that stop. I said, you know, as quiet and as mellow and as laid back as Benny Parsons is, you know, on the racetrack, he was so composed in the car. But when you put him on pit road and raise a jack and then drop that jack, the man became a raving maniac. He said, he almost took my legs off in that pit stop. If you watch that, Doc, he was a wild man in the pit.
I used to think, I used to pride myself on going when they said go.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do.
We see Mark Mark pull up right behind Morgan Shepherd. 6th place car.
We've just passed the halfway mark of this race. We now enter phase number 2. And it's been a very safe race to this point with the average speed up to 180.352. And the last lap by leader Ernie Irvan turned at 191.7.
See Todd Bodine, Jeff Burton, both those cars caught speeding on pit road, both a lap down.
And once again, the lead track running pretty much single file.
They are now, Bob, but a little while ago up there. And the second group of cars were catching them at the rate of about 3/4 of a second a lap. Now that has stabilized. In fact, this crowd might be pulling away just a little bit that they've been singled out.
10 cars in the lead track. Then 3 running by themselves. And then the second group. It has about 8 cars in it.
And some very good race cars in that group of cars.
Sterling Marlin, Daytona 500 winner. Michael Waltrip, Jimmy Spencer, Dale Jarrett, Lake Speed, John Andretti, Jeff Purvis, and who, Romano?
I was watching the leader.
Yeah, Terry Labonte is in the group. Yes. They've been content to run single file for many, many laps here. That's the smart thing to do because they were losing ground to the leaders when they were racing with each other. So I'm sure their folks got together, the spotters and crew members and everyone, and said, hey guys, get a single file. You got a much better chance.
Jerry Punch has a report from pit road on the 28 and the 75. Jerry, I should say.
Thank you, Bob. Let's make a deal time once again here at Talladega. And it doesn't involve a pit stop. Here's what's happening. Ernie Irvan has a loose race car when someone is tucked just beneath the rear of his car. So the deal is this. He knows that the 75 car is trying to get his lap back. Their crew chief, Larry McReynolds, has told Todd Bodine's crew, if you'll keep Todd right off our bumper, not get him up underneath us where he gets us loose, so Earnhardt can't catch us. If the caution comes out, we're going to let you by and let you make up your lap and get back on the lead lap. But you ride where you are, stay off our rear bumper, stay in line so we're good and quick, and when the caution comes out, you're back on the lead lap.
Well, you don't think of this sport as a team sport, but by golly, it is sometimes, isn't it?
It really is. That is very, very smart. Irvin, Larry McReynolds, those guys to do that. Todd Bodine is not going to loosen him up. We'll see Bobby Labonte.
He's in 30th position, so we now have 29 on the lead lap.
We've got 3 cars right in front of Irvin that are about to go a lap down, and that includes Darrell Waltrip.
Now we see that Ricky Rudd and a couple more cars has dropped away from this pack. Right behind Mark Martin. There we see them. The 8 car, Rudd, and that's a 19 car. Rudd, the only car in the lead lap, but he has lost the draft of the front cars.
And Morgan Shepherd has lost the draft of all of them. He's even back behind these guys.
Oh, he is, isn't he?
Yes. He's running by himself out there.
Approaching now some of the cars to put them a lap down. There goes Chuck Bound. Next will be Mike Wallace and Darrell Waltrip. Bound sliding way up high on the track. And the 95 car, Jeremy Mayfield, is being black flagged because of loose hood flaps. There you can see that second pack of cars is losing to the lead draft.
Yeah, they were up there about 11 seconds. They cut it down to that 9.5 that we see. In fact, a little bit less than that at one time. And then you can see that they're pulling away once this group up here started running single file.
You can see how Todd Bodine is staying right behind Ernie Irvin.
Who thinks he's got a buddy? See this one. We get a caution flag.
87 laps to go here at Talladega. Ernie Irvin has led 62 of the circuit so far. 28 cars are on the lead lap. Average speed 181.055. We'll be right back.
Step into this season in style with top name brand swimsuits. And what a selection. Hundreds to choose from at prices that are sensational. Style, selection, and price. You'll find them all at Colette Swimwear by the post office on Madeira Way.
She's back. But what's she up to this time? Okay, more movies and some of the latest releases. She's running a camcorder in VCR.
If he doesn't like the movies, I'll make my own.
Well, that ought to be interesting. Beach Boy Video, with thousands of selections, including Laserdisc, plus VCR and camcorder rentals. Call 397-2768.
Center highlight goes like this. She hits a monster slap shot. But I catch it behind my back, Frisbee style. And everyone's so stunned, I start skating. My coach is yelling, go. Bob leaves giving me directions, but I'm the amazing skating goalie. And I score the winning goal. Wow. Which gets me a dance with Ty Babylonia. Yeah, that's my Sports Center highlight.
Well, we have had a major crash here at Talladega right in front of us, and the car that gave us the biggest scare was Mark Martin, and we can only breathe a sigh of relief to see him get out of that thing because he was without brakes and went a long way, hit 2 guardrails in the process, and finally came to rest against another guardrail and a catch fence. Others involved include Todd Bodine, Jeff Burton there in the number 8 car. Boy, let's take a look at what happened.
Here we see Todd Bodine. He's going to be involved. Now, Jeff Gordon comes down. They're going to get 3 abreast, and Todd Bodine doesn't know that. He gets touched by the 77 car of Sachs. He goes down, hits the 24 car. Sachs The 8 car spins, and look at all these cars behind. They got no place to go. Watch Mark Martin. He's hit someone. He has no brakes.
Hits the inside retaining wall, and then he goes out of the picture, but he goes through another. We'll see it here. Now watch him. He hits the inside retaining wall. That's the car up in the middle of your screen. Hits the Die Hard 500 sign. Shoots through a guardrail right here. Goes right on through it. Mows it down. Still at top speed and hits another fence and then the guardrail and finally comes to rest.
He had to be going 100 miles an hour when he hit the end of that guardrail and then went over to the second guardrail where he finally came to a stop.
That was a wild ride, and thank God he got out of there.
There are only 2 cars here in front of us that appear to be disabled besides Mark Martin. That's Bodine and Burton, and there was Mark Martin getting out of the car. He appears to be injured possibly a little bit, but certainly good to see him get out of the car. Let's take a look at it again.
There we see Todd Bodine. He gets clipped by the 77 car. He and Jeff Gordon get together, and then now there's no place for these other guys to go. Rudd's involved. There we see Rudd going, and maybe he didn't have a whole lot of damage, but man, I tell you, Mark Martin looked like he's running 200 miles an hour going through.
I'm telling you, he
didn't
sure
slow
did.
down a lot.
Well, you remember Todd Bodine and Jeff Gordon were involved in incidents together at Daytona, and they have met again. The roof flaps on Jeff Gordon's car deployed.
Knock them back down.
And here all these cars are coming down pit road. This is the caution flag that Todd Bodine needed, wasn't it?
Yep. But his car instead is down near turn number 1, being put on a wrecker or a flatbed. Meanwhile, pit stops are being accomplished. Here's Ernie Irvin pulling in with the 3 car, and so is Greg Sachs, John Kernan.
There will be a 4-tire change for Greg Sachs. We can see a little damage on the right rear bumper. Right side's already on, left side's going on, and now let's go down to Earnhardt's pit for Jerry Punch.
First 4-tire change today we're seeing down here with Earnhardt already having gotten right side tires. Meanwhile, the car 28 also has gotten left side tires. They are down and away. Let's check back in with John Kernan.
A problem with the jack on Greg Sachs' car. They finally get the car off the ground and get the tires changed, but he'll be behind as Sterling Marlin and several others got out in front of him.
Here comes Marlin, followed by Michael Waldrop, and then Greg Sachs. Others coming out.
The tire laying right in the middle of pit road.
Yeah.
There's a Truman. Now there's a brave soul. There's off Dick Ritchie's car.
Loy Allen was also involved in the crash here at the start-finish line. We will be back to review it in just a moment. Again, it appears that all drivers are okay, including Mark Martin, who had a wild ride through 2 guardrails. The badly battered car of Mark Martin is pulled back to the garage area, and there's very little left in the front end of that machine. There are the cars involved in the crash. Todd Bodine, and also Loy Allen, Jeff Gordon, and Jeff Burton. And that's where his car, Mark Martin's, came to rest.
And you see, they're trying to put back up a chain link fence. Is that a brand name, or is that the type of fence? I'm not sure, but they're trying. He just ripped that baby down.
Sure did. We'll show you again what happened in real time so you can get some idea of how fast Mark Martin was going when he went through one guardrail and came to rest against another.
Oh, man.
It's a wonder he didn't fly over that guardrail and come to land against those people down there, maybe.
Well, there's a ditch, and then, of course, the other guardrail there.
Now, this ought to be a real shot. How did that camera live through all that? Now, look.
Darrell Waltrip drove through it.
That Darrell Waltrip's got to be the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Here it is from above.
Oh, Jeff Gordon, nowhere to go. Look at Darrell now.
There's There's Mark getting hit.
Twice.
Yeah.
He barely misses Darrell. Whoa, man. He couldn't have missed Darrell 2 inches. We see Rudd spinning down through there. Loy Allen. It's a black car. Is that 12?
Yes. Check out.
And now we're going to be able to see Mark across that road and into the guardrail and catch Benson. And again from the in-car.
I don't see his name.
Remind everybody again that we were nominated for 3 Emmy Awards a couple of weeks ago, and we won all 3 of them, and they were for technical innovation, including that type of shot that we got from the in-car camera. That is unbelievable. And hats off to everyone who works on the technical crew of ESPN Speed World. And they go to work on Jeff Gordon's car now. For those of you who visit your local racetrack, and you often hear the PA announcer say, please get back away from the fence, that's the reason why. And John Kernan is with Mark.
Mark has been checked out at the infield care center. And Mark, that was one wild ride you took. Thank goodness you're okay.
Yeah, I was sure worried about it. The first impact there, I lost the brakes, which wasn't going to do me much good, but it sure is a helpless feeling coming toward that guardrail with no brakes. I know it wouldn't have slowed me down any, but I'd have sure felt a lot more normal if I'd have been able to push on the brake pedal. It scared me a little bit there. I thought that could be a bad one, but thank goodness for those roof flaps. The car didn't get upside down when it turned sideways at full speed. Thank goodness for NASCAR and the rules. It's a good run for us. We were going to have a real decent finish. We were just sitting there, you know, waiting around and stuff, and I'm proud of that Valvoline bunch, and you know, what else can I say?
When you got out of the car, you looked like you might have rung your bell or something. Were you hurt momentarily there, or you okay, I guess?
I'm okay. It hurt bad. It's harder than it shows on TV.
You need one of those goodie shouters.
John.
Yeah.
He's talking. There's some spots he can't talk about on television. Don't you understand?
Okay. I understand now, Mark, what they were talking about.
We won't discuss it, but he's okay. That's the most important thing. But a major crash has put several behind the wall. Everybody is okay. Earnhardt will be the leader when we go back to racing in just a moment. That just about says it all right there. Excitement, speed, power, and nerves here at Talladega in the Winston Select 500. They continue to work on Jeff Gordon's car, trying to get him back out there to complete as many laps as possible, but he was involved in the incident. He did... we did get a shot from his in-car camera of what happened. John Kernan is with Todd Bodine.
Well, Bob, Todd is coming out of the infield care center. You okay, Todd? You guys had a great run going, then the speeding violation, and it looked like you were in a position where you could get that lead lap back and then some contact out there.
Yeah, you know, I messed up, got us a lap down by speeding on pit road. I thought I was in the legal limit, and I wasn't. But, you know, we would have been in that pack anyway because that was a lead draft, and, you know, it's a shame the factory store's Adidas Ford was running great. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better race car. I made some mistakes in the beginning, got caught out of the draft, and worked my way back and got the lead, and was just riding there and just trying to stay out of trouble, and then I messed up on pit road, but, you know, we'll get them next week.
Todd Bodine is okay, Bob.
Good to see everyone survive that very scary accident right at the start-finish line here at Talladega. Before we go green, we'll take another break. Back at Talladega, and we're just a few moments away from the restart of this event. Earlier today, the auto racing world lost perhaps, many people will tell you, its greatest competitor and best driver. Ayrton Senna, the three-time world champion, was killed today in a Formula One race in Imola. 41 total career wins, 65 pole positions, and the 88, 90, and 91 World Driving Championships. Our sympathies to the Ayrton Senna family. He will be missed greatly by all of us interested in auto racing. And we're just going to jump into a car here and take a couple of silent laps in memory of the great former world champion. More cars than the previous crash. A big cloud of dust down by turn number 1, and we can't see a thing. We're going to have to go to our aerial shot to give you an idea of how many cars are involved. 3, 6, 9, 12 at least. Wow. Terry Labonte was the first to get sideways, and there his car is, along with Derry Cope and Jeff Purvis. Wally Dallenbach, Dick Trickle, Jeremy Mayfield, there's Chuck Bown, Rusty Wallace. Boy, we went so long in this race with no cautions and no accidents, and now 2 major ones here within a few minutes. There's Jeff Purvis's badly damaged country time car.
There's Dick Trickle's car number 32.
It looks like that somebody touched Terry Labonte and just turned him sideways. He goes down and whap right in the side of Rusty Wallace. We see Purvis go hit that wall head on.
Looks like that may have been Mayfield that also got up into the wall. Chuck Bown got on the brakes.
Is that the Trickle car?
It could be Trickle or Andretti. I'm not sure. No, there's Andretti. He was. In fact, he went to the high side. Oh, look at the impact there. Wow. Rusty Wallace is out of his car. So is Dick Trickle. He's assessing the damage. There's Rusty walking away. Terry Labonte is standing there.
Now look at the back of that Kellogg's Cornflakes car.
He just hit Rusty for a ton. There's Jeff Purvis. He's walking over to the ambulance. He's okay. So again, it appears that all drivers are going to be okay. Jerry, what do you know about this?
Well, Bob, we're standing by with Jimmy Johnson, who is the team manager for all of Hendrick Motorsports. And Jimmy, fortunately, you've spoken with Terry Labonte on the radio. He is okay, number 1.
Yeah, Terry's fine.
What happened down there?
Well, Terry asked on the radio, he said, who hit me? And from our standpoint, it looked like the 27 car got into his rear quarter panel and turned him sideways, and then all heck broke loose.
Well, fortunately, Terry Labonte is okay, but the crew is taking off back to the garage area. Now, Jimmy will be headed back that way momentarily. They're going to try. I'm not sure from our vantage point if there's anything they can fix, but everyone's looking for those Winston Cup points.
Here it is again. Let's see. Yeah, there may have...
Spencer's on the inside there. Yep, he touches Labonte just a little bit. Turns him sideways down into another car.
It's Harry Gant.
And then right up into the wall on the outside. Bounces back down in front of some other cars.
Boom. You can see the roof flaps deploying on many of the cars. As they get turned sideways, the roof flaps come up, spoiling the lifting effect that the cars have when they get on there, when they get sideways. From the proof positive blimp.
Yeah.
And there is the contact between Labonte and Wallace.
You see Purvis going into the wall.
It's Wally Dallenbach and Harry Gant.
Ooh, and here comes Trickle into these guys head on.
Dale Jarrett spun and hit somebody down on the inside there.
Jarrett has been in the pits and back out. He appears to have some damage on the right rear of the car. Well, they've got Labonte's car on a rollback. It's about the only way they can get it to move. But again, it appears as if all drivers are okay after a multi-car crash during the Winston Select 500. Blimp captain Matt Elkins of Dallas, Texas, giving us some great overhead shots of this massive 2.6-mile facility here at Talladega, and there is the lead draft.
Now, Bob, we're down to 16 cars on the lead lap as we see one of those, John Andretti, who was running up there in 12th place, apparently being pushed to the garage area. We understand that he has an engine problem, and Jeff Gordon just went a lap down on the racetrack with his battered car, so there are now 16 cars on the lead lap.
It's too bad for John Andretti. He was up as high as 12th.
John Andretti has been impressive this year. Last year when he first came to the sport, first few races, he didn't have a lot of success. He said, well, that's just another IndyCar driver trying to run down here. And I tell you what, those guys do have a feel for a race car, as he has proven.
Yep. It's still Ernie Irvan leading, Dale Earnhardt, Schrader, Michael Waltrip, who is running in 4th spot now. Sterling Marlin is 5th, and Jimmy Spencer, Morgan Shepherd, and Blake Speed. Great run for Michael Waltrip, huh?
Yes, it is. You know, he was running very well in Daytona. Daytona 500 was involved in that accident back there with Todd Bodine, as we see Spencer trying to get by Sterling Marlin.
And, of course, Michael's best finish of the year was at Bristol, when he finished 5th.
Spencer expecting someone to come with him down there, and it didn't happen. They all line up against him up on the outside.
Maybe he can squeeze in. He's not going to squeeze in back there with Morgan Shepherd and Lake Speed either.
You might have to get behind him.
Doesn't do that quickly, they're going to lose the draft.
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah, he slides back up in front of Lake Speed, and John Kernan is with John Andretti.
Well, John, you had a great run going there. I see you did have some contact out there on that one accident. You did a masterful job getting around it.
Well, it's one of those things where you just have to be a little bit lucky, and we were lucky there, but we were a little bit unlucky. We dropped the valve in the car, but I forgot to mention one of my sponsors one time I was on. I wanted to mention Beaver in Indianapolis. But we'll be back. You know, we get some good runs in. We just can't get them at the finish. One of these days, maybe that'll happen for us.
Are you enjoying stock car racing as much as Indy cars?
I just enjoy racing. It doesn't matter what it is, and it's a lot of fun to race with these guys. And you know, hopefully someday I'll be able to race at the front a little more often. It's a lot more fun up there.
Okay, thank you, John. Good luck next week.
And what's wrong with the 28 car?
It's more than just being out of the draft.
Yes, looks like he's lost a cylinder, flat tire, some severe problem with the 28 car. Here he's leading the race. Earnhardt right behind him.
This is in turn 4, and
boy, Earnhardt almost gets him, not realizing he must have lost power. Jerry, what's going on there?
Well, actually, we're standing down in their pits, and Larry McReynolds and Robert Yates were here talking. And Larry said the car just got very, very loose. Let me ask Larry while we're standing here. Larry, what happened here? Why did he slow down?
He said he just got real, real loose. I think up there in 3 and 4. You know, he hadn't really said much about the car since that last stop, but he did say it got real loose then. I guess Jim Phillips said he almost hit the wall.
Well, he gathered it back in and appears to be coming back up to speed, so a near miss once again for Ernie Irvan.
just lost a lot of positions on the racetrack because of it, and now has a job to get back up front.
Morgan Shepherd in the driver's meeting today got up and announced that he hit a spot up in 3 and 4 yesterday that his car just suddenly became very, very loose. He said that he felt like it was where they put tar in the crack across the racetrack, and possibly that's what Ernie Irvin hit.
We watch Morgan Shepherd now as he runs in the 7th position. Started 12th, has been as high as 4th, as low as 31st, hasn't led a lap, but has been in contention since the green flag drop.
Comes through the tri-oval. Back to the start-finish line. Heading turn 1. I just want to reach over and get him a good grip. Turn that baby.
Grissom in his effort to catch back up. Here's Kyle Petty now moving to the inside of Irvin.
Kyle was running in 11th place. Now moving up to 9th, I believe.
There he shows black. Ooh, look at Greg Sachs coming on the outside line by these guys.
Got a head of steam.
Wallace, the Heilig Myers car.
He's right in the middle of this pack. He's a lap down. Shown at 17th. Yep.
That's the Family Channel car direct in front of him with Ted Musgrave.
All right, now let's review the top 10 for you. It's Dale Earnhardt leading. Ken Schrader running in 2nd position. In 3rd is Michael Waltrip. Jimmy Spencer is 4th, and 5th is Sterling Marlin. 6th, Lake Speed. Then the Ford of Morgan Shepherd, the Chevy of Steve Grissom. Pontiac in 9th position with Kyle Petty behind the wheel, and Ernie Irvin has slipped back into 10th. And the Haviland Ford. Back with more live coverage of the Winston Select 500 from Talladega in a moment. ESPN Speed World at the Winston Select 500 in Talladega, being led by Dale Earnhardt, and looks like we got some deal making going on.
That's Jimmy Johnson, the team manager for Hendrick, with Kenny Schrader, who's running 2nd. He's talking to Richard Childress, the owner of Dale Earnhardt's car. John Kernan, what are they talking about?
Well, what they're talking about is pitting together, but I don't know if Earnhardt's team is going to want to stretch it as far as Ken Schrader may stretch it. They may stretch it up to lap 162, and then try and go the rest of the distance on only 1 can of fuel. That would cut their pit stop in effect in half. But they think they may have to have 1 full can, just a little bit more. Jerry Punch?
Now, Earnhardt pitted on lap 105, and he's been running about 50 laps on a tank of fuel. That would put him in around lap 155. They could probably go to 158, but I would doubt they would even want to think about going to 162, because that would mean he'd probably coast down pit road. Now, 150 to 155 in that range, 158 maybe, and they would love to have Kenny Schrader pit with them to have a dancing partner.
Another driver that has been competitive all afternoon is running back there in what? 6th position, Lake Speed.
Yeah, he's 6th spot.
He had a good run in the Ford Quality Care. 15.
He started 18th on lap 111. He was 11th, slipped back to 13th, and then began to climb to 9th, 8th, and now 6th at 140 laps.
You see Morgan going the corner, trying to go by these guys on the outside. He pulls up on the outside of Speed.
Steve Grissom stayed with Speed, but it looks like now he's going to go out and go with Morgan.
Great shot looking back on Steve Grissom from Morgan's car.
Greg Sachs directly behind those cars. There's Ernie Irvin.
And Irvin isn't moving up the way he thought he might. John, what'd they decide?
Well, they're talking it over right now. Jimmy Johnson and Ken Howes, as Childress has made his pitch. I asked him after he left if they had struck a deal. Jimmy said, well, we're thinking about it. So we'll hang around and see what they finally decide.
Okay. There are 45 laps to go. Dale Jarrett has just gone a lap down. He's in 16th position. There is the indication that Ernie Irvin is indeed catching the leader, Dale Earnhardt. The interval was 3 seconds on lap 138, and by lap 142, it had been sliced in half to a second and a half.
Well, Greg Sachs has gotten on the outside of Irvin now, trying to, and there's a group of cars behind him.
Now there are only 15 cars in the lead lap.
That's the battle for 7th there between Sachs and Irvin. They continue to be that side-by-side duo right now.
They got back in line. I guess Ernie would be content to let Sachs pull him back towards the front. Irvin's got he's in a bad situation right now, because if these guys are going to stop, put 1 can of fuel in, if his car is handling that badly, here's Schrader. Schrader off the pace. The Kodiak car is slow in turn 4. Man.
And he's had a good run going, too. Well, so much for the strategy there where they were talking about.
He doesn't even come by pit road, so evidence a cylinder.
Must be. He's lost a cylinder. Just going to putter it out as long as he can.
Bad break for Ken Schrader. Pit stop should be occurring momentarily. We'll cover them for you when we come back live to Talladega in Alabama. Track Facts are brought to you by Quaker State, the intelligent oil for longer engine life.
We're at Sabco Racing with assistant engine builder Lanny Barnes. And Lanny, to increase horsepower in an engine, the key is to do what?
Reduce friction.
Now, how do you do that?
Well, we coat our parts.
Now, on a race engine, you're talking about coating the bearings and the pistons and the crank. Now, what do you have in front of us here?
Today we have a coated Clevite bearing versus the non-coated. And
these are the non-coated here on,
yes,
on this
sir.
side, and these are the coated here.
Yes, sir.
Now, it may look like there's just a very simple difference if you see that the darkness of the coated side on the bearing and piston, but what's involved is a very arduous process where these teams send this material out to Harold Elliott up in Denver, North Carolina, and what Harold does is he cleans them repeatedly and then has to bake them in an oven.
Yes, sir, and it's a several-hour process. I mean, it could take as much as 8 hours.
Which is a lot of work, and we're talking about some expense too, right?
Yes, sir. Probably in a Winston Cup engine as much as $1,500.
Now, that may sound expensive up front, but really there's cost savings on the back end.
Yes, sir. It's true, because you can use the part more. Normally, we would use the bearing that is non-coated for 1 race, but with a coated bearing, we could use it as many as 3 races.
So not only you save money in the long run, that's good for you Saturday night short track racers who run the 35 and 50 lap features. Coat your engine, it may run the entire season without worrying about fatigue. But also the key in Winston Cup racing is horsepower. What's the difference between the uncoated and the coated?
Friction.
Friction, and on a speedway that could be 12 to 25 horsepower, and that's what they look for here at Sabco Racing.
And the Sabco Racing car driven by Kyle Petty is being shown in 11th position right now. There he is on the right of your screen. Ernie Irvin has begun his move toward the front. Now he gets in behind Jimmy Spencer once again. Michael Waltrip running second.
Lake Speed has been trying to help Ernie Irvin go to the front and help himself go to the front for a couple of laps now.
Did we mention the keys? Seems to have he switched ignitions and seems to be back up to speed. He's lost the draft, but he's still out there on the lead lap. Being shown, as a matter of fact, in what, 13th?
3 wide into 1. Jimmy Spencer in the middle. Looks like Irvin might make it 3 wide down the backstretch.
Looks like he's got a run going.
Spencer's living up to his nickname, Mr. Excitement, today, isn't he? He's getting very exciting here.
Lake Speed going to try to go with Irvin.
Didn't quite make it.
No.
Now Ernie Spotter will tell him to move up, and he should slide in there in front of the 77 car. I'm sorry, Greg Sachs.
He stayed down the road. Well, no, he's back up there now. And Steve Person is learning a lot about drafting this afternoon, isn't he?
He sure is. Doing a great job. And that's what he's doing. I think his car might even be a little bit better. He's right up there with the lead pack, but it might even be a little bit better than that. But he's very sensibly staying in there and learning as much as he can.
What a nice guy, too.
Yeah. And here comes Ernie Irvin trying to take over the 3rd spot. And the fans are going nuts.
He pulls alongside Sterling Marlin to go door handle to door handle with him into turn number 3. And Ernie Irvin along with Jimmy Spencer, who's with him on the bottom, are headed toward the front.
Up to second. Are they alongside Earnhardt?
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
Here comes Ernie. They're side by side at the line. Earnhardt by a nose. Jerry Punch.
Well, they're battling up front, and they're also battling on pit road. Now, here's what they're trying to do. Richard Childress would like to be able to get Michael Waltrip in the car number 30 to pit with them on lap 155. Now, Larry McReynolds and Ernie Irvin would like to get the car number 30 to pit with them around lap 160. It's a decision to be made right now by Chuck Ryder and the Pontiac team up there with the Pennzoil car.
Never has Michael Waltrip been so popular.
No, he's a very popular guy right now. They're trying to make a deal with the 52 car, with the 25 car. Schrader, he's gone away, so we got to try to find the next best.
And once again, they onto the tri-oval, and it's a side-by-side battle for the lead. This time, I believe Ernie might lead the lap. Let's watch it, though.
I think he did.
Too close to call, but yeah, Ernie probably led that lap. And we have 35 to go. And there's Larry McReynolds. He has a pit map, and he's looking for the person that he wants to make a deal with. Here comes Spencer to the bottom. And Ernie out of the draft.
The guy in the middle as Musgrave goes by. Ernie, he led just the last lap, and now he's running about 9th. Man.
McReynolds has moved over to Lake Speed's crew and says, let's make a deal.
Johnny Wingo said, okay. Well, what are you offering? And there's Spencer trying to take the lead.
And he's going to take the lead into turn 1. Jimmy Spencer passes Dale Earnhardt and goes to the front. That is the first time that Jimmy Spencer has led in 1990. He hasn't led early today, has he?
I don't think so.
Well, this will be the first time that he's led then in 94. Earnhardt is waving.
Jerry Punch is talking about 158 maximum. Is Earnhardt coming in?
They're running in the 155th lap right now.
They're all coming in. Every one of them's making a pit stop.
How about that?
Good portion of them, yes.
We've got 6 cars that are coming in for their what should be their final pit stop, including Spencer and Marlin and Sachs, Musgrave. Here's John Kernan.
Sterling Marlin, the only driver who has a chance at that $100,000 bonus, who's on. First can of gasoline going in, right side tires. A 2-tire change. Now let's go down to Earnhardt. Fit with Jerry Punch and Sterling this way.
Gas only for Dale Earnhardt. Likewise, right behind him is Jimmy Spencer and Michael Waltrip. They try to get it full of gas as they head down pit road and smoke flies. It looks like Sachs, and then Earnhardt, then Michael Waltrip, then Jimmy Spencer. They head back for turn 1.
Greg Sachs picks up some positions on pit road as here they come back to resume their draft for what could be the race's lead.
The others staying out there. Ernie Irvin has resumed the lead. Morgan Shepherd is second. Lake Speed is third. Kyle Petty fourth. And Brentwood I is in 5th place.
Second group is coming right here.
There's the cars that Ned Jarrett was just talking about.
Now these 6 pit together. Theoretically, everybody comes out at about the same point, and we still have that 11-car draft. Here's Steve Grissom, is he going to have a drafting partner? Yeah, Ken Schrader right behind him.
But the first group, as they coming down pit road, there's the top group. They're going by, so Grissom and Schrader will be a long way back.
Schrader was already a long way back, so he must have made a good pit stop, but Steve's pit stop a little bit slow.
Now, Jerry, what's the strategy?
Final pit stop for Ernie Irvin should be coming on lap 158 to 159. It'll be 28 and 21. Morgan Shepherd, 2 Fords will come down and pit and try to stay together. We would expect to see, as we saw just a moment ago, fuel only for both those cars.
Well, don't you know, Ernie Irvin would love to have 4 tires. This car is as he'd like for it to. He'd love to stop and get 4 tires. But he can't afford to. Those other guys just spent 12 seconds in the pits. He cannot afford to spend 17 seconds. So they'd be long gone.
The 55 car of Jimmy Hensley back out onto the racetrack.
Well, he's going to pick up 2 or 3 spots because all the cars in the crash with him, they're not able to get back on the racetrack. He will beat those cars.
Now he's been shown in 36th position. We anticipate pit stops here shortly by Irvin and maybe everybody else lined up behind him. See if it happens this lap.
Their car was running slow, maybe run out of gas.
Yeah, they're coming in. All 5 coming in with 30 laps remaining.
Morgan Shepherd pitted all the way at the end of pit road as he follows Ernie. Irvin follows him. Ernie goes into his pit. Now Morgan's got to come all the way down.
Here's John Kernan in Lake Speed's pit.
Donnie Wingo and the crew have carried it as far as they can. Only 1 can of gasoline. And Kyle Petty is waiting 1 shot. They're pushing up on the spoiler here on Ernie Irvin's car, trying to get the spoiler pushed up, but the cars go by. Here is Lake Speed now headed down behind Irvin. They told Ernie to bring it as close to the wall as possible to get those fuel cans in, and they were pushing on the spoiler because Ernie continues to have a loose race car.
This could work out here where they join in at just about the speed of the 5 coming down. What do you think, Ned?
Well, I think Morgan Shepherd and Kyle Petty are going to be okay, but I think Ernie Irvin is they're going to blow right by him and Lake Speed. You'll see Earnhardt coming up on him, and he has full speed, and they don't have yet. It takes at least a lap or a little over here to get up to full speed. Here comes Earnhardt and them. They'll just blow right on by them. But they'll be able to pick up the draft of these cars that are running together and should get back up to speed a little bit quicker than normal.
Leading Marlin and Spencer, Sachs and Waltrip. 28 laps remaining in the Winston Select 500. Been a great race so far, and it's anybody's race right now. We'll be right back. 4th caution of the race is out here at Talladega. Kirk Shelmerdine came in contact with the wall up between turns 3 and 4. Damaged the right side of the car. He was able to drive the car into his pit area, and they're working on the right front right now. Now, what's going to happen, Jerry Punch?
Well, Dale Earnhardt is going to stay out, as some of the other guys who pitted up here, Jimmy Spencer, etc. But one who will make an entry, possibly on the pit road, will be Ernie Irvin. Now, Ernie just radioed in and said, Larry, is it my imagination? There is one side of that spoiler hanging down. So apparently they said they're going to come in and try to repair the rear spoiler. The crew's not really sure what the problem may be, but Ernie says, looking in the mirror, there's something wrong with the rear spoiler.
So Ernie will come on to pit road again. Yeah, you can see it's a little bit lower.
Your eyes are better than mine, Bob. You're much younger than I am.
Well, yeah, better looking too, I might add, but
a lot skinnier.
Here's Jerry again.
Apparently, with all the pushing and adjusting on the rear spoiler with Ernie's loose race car all day, the spoiler now has gotten so weak where it's hanging down. So they're going to come in and use a screw gun to put a screw in the spoiler. And now that everyone realizes that Ernie's going to come in, there's a possibility that Dale Earnhardt may also make an entry on the pit road, as now the Goodwrench crew begins to scramble a little bit and think about possibly putting some tires on that car, as they will indeed make an entry on the pit road. Here comes Dale Earnhardt, car number 3, who won the July event here at Talladega last year. And yes, indeed, he will come down pit road. A large crack across the windshield. In fact, 2 big cracks running all the way across the windshield on Earnhardt's Goodwrench Chevrolet, as they will change all 4 tires. Now Ernie Irvin, you see the crew now working on the rear of the car. They will put a pop rivet or a screw into the right side of the spoiler to try to hold the spoiler up. Apparently at speed, that spoiler will even bend down further than it already had. Earnhardt is down and away. The other 2 pit stops are down and away. And now the NASCAR official comes around to watch the work being completed on the rear of the Haviland Ford Thunderbird. That's Larry McReynolds. They have put a screw in. They have pushed the spoiler back up. Ernie puts it in first gear, and they said, whoa, wait a minute, it's not tight. It's not tight. So Ernie has to come back in, tighten it up one more time, and Ernie will be headed back down pit road.
41.5-second stop for Ernie.
Tell you what, that's pretty impressive. He's been able to run around there. That thing, the spoiler is laying back on him down the straightaways.
During this caution, two drivers, Mike Wallace and Darrell Waltrip, got their laps back. The leader of the event is Sterling Marlin. Ernie Irvan has come back on pit road for more work to the rear spoiler to make sure that everything is tight, make sure that he has things the way he wants it for the dash to the checkered flag here. NASCAR apparently is making a measure of the spoiler before they approve his going out.
It has to be a certain height. Jerry Punch?
Well, Benny, it has to be a minimum of 40 degrees, and when it came loose and began to bend backwards on the car, if he were to win the race and come down, the NASCAR rule is that you come off of turn 4 after taking the checkered flag. If your spoiler is less than 40 degrees, you will be credited with last place finish. So they can't take a chance here today. Under caution, they check the spoiler, make sure it's at least 40 degrees on the back of their cars.
Here's the top 10. Sterling Marlin, your leader. Jimmy Spencer is second. Then Steve Grissom. Dave Marcus running fourth. And Greg Sachs is fifth. Sixth position being held by Lake Speed. Then Bobby Hamilton, Michael Waltrip, Kyle Petty, and Ted Musgrave. Our next NASCAR Winston Cup telecast will come to you from Sonoma, California, Sears Point International Raceway, the Save Mart Supermarket 300. That's at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, Sunday, May 15th, 2 weeks from today. We'll be right back.
The West Coast.
Lining up for the restart of the Winston Select 500 with 165 laps completed. You know, we were talking about our next race at Sears Point on the road course. There are several drivers who have signed up for Skip Barber's racing school to hone up on their road racing skills, including Todd Bodine, and Mike Wallace and Steve Grissom, Joe Nemechek, Jimmy Hensley, and Jeff and Ward Burton. There is the proof positive MCI blimp, which has been providing our overhead shots all weekend long here at Talladega, and we appreciate the work and the pictures that they have provided for us.
And I want to invite all the folks around Winston-Salem this Thursday to come by the Benton Convention Center, and they're going to have a celebrity chef day.
Oh,
by lunch.
Oh, boy. Are you going to be cooking?
They can find me in the dessert department. The Sara Lee booth, I'll have desserts.
Please understand he will not be serving or baking them. He will be eating.
No, I'll be serving them. Hud Strickland's going to be there. So
that ought to be fun.
It ought to be fun. Benton Convention Center starts at 11 o'clock Thursday.
By the way, how's your diet? You notice how he gets
that Thursday won't help either, working in the service car.
Sure. All right. We got some serious racing to do here, so let's sober up and get the green flag. Restart this race. And the possibility of $1 million if he can win this race and either the World 600, or the Dakota World 600, or the Southern 500 at Darlington. Back under green.
Jimmy Spencer laid back, Ned, to get him a running start. And watch this. He's going to blow right by Sterling. I do believe. All these cars. He knows Earnhardt.
Steve Grissom up there in third place, and Dave Marcus hanging right in there in fourth. Marcus had not made a pit stop, so he assumed the lead and came out in good shape after making his pit stop.
Remember, we talked earlier about how this track has produced a lot of first-time winners. Certainly the possibility of that happening here this afternoon. Spencer has not won. Neither is Grissom.
Neither is Michael Waltrip.
Right?
Well, the 28 car, Ernie Irvan, was mired in heavy traffic back there. They're 3-4 wide right in front of him.
Darrell Waltrip, as we told you, got his lap back during that most recent caution, so he is up to 14th. There's Ted Musgrave, who is in his 100th NASCAR Winston Cup race on the right of your screen. He's in 11th.
Wow, he was up there in that outside and just took off. Musgrave Speedway. There he is, right in front of Brett Bodine.
Walker goes blowing by Bill Elliott. To get back to Wilkes County.
And a couple of weeks ago, Wes Wilkinson also passed away, and that's why you see the in memory of Wes and Bonnie inside Bill's car. Well, it looks like front two may be pulling away a little bit here as Dave Marcus goes to the inside, or is on the inside, and certainly that's not a good place to be when everybody lined up on your right.
Yeah, that's right. It's not a bad place if everyone's with you, but here comes Lake Speed trying to get by Grissom. He's got Morgan Shepherd to help him take over that third spot. There's Earnhardt trying to get by Michael. Oh, they touch. Again.
And if Steve Grissom didn't back out, there was another big wreck, folks. Steve Grissom backed out just enough. You see how much momentum he lost, but he saved from having a big wreck right there.
A young man showing a lot of experience and cool-headedness out there. Look at Marlin and Spencer.
Spencer trying to take the lead. Now, can he get back in? No, the Fords are going to go with him. Here comes Lake Speed and Morgan. Looks like they're going to go by Last early they do.
Now it becomes a manufacturer's battle here with two Fords, a Chevy and a Ford.
Really not too good. Looks like Earnhardt and Michael are still side by side.
They are.
Shepard looked like he moved to the inside there for just a moment. He's trying to figure out which is the best place to go. So he looked from his rear bumper back at Michael Walter. Now Walter pulls ahead of Earnhardt. Earnhardt, not a lot of drafting help down there. But Ken Schrader up there riding the high side. He had lost the draft from the big group up front when he had an ignition problem. He got that fixed, and now he's right back up in Monster.
Ernie is pushing Dave Marcus down the racetrack.
Hats off to Brett Bodine, also had a struggle getting into this race. He has been on the lead lap, running in 13th position right now. Make that 9th position. Well, positions are changing so quick, it really doesn't make any difference. They're all running up front.
We'll have more for you at the end of the race.
Right. Spencer leads, as you can see.
DW running that group.
Now they got Brett hung in the middle, 3 abreast down at turn 1. Everyone safely gets by. Is that Marcus behind Earnhardt? Is that Earnhardt right in front of him? Yes, it is, right in front of Dave Marcus.
By the way, Dave Marcus has won here at Talladega. It occurred in the summer race in 1976.
Here goes Spencer back to number 1.
Sterling Marlin, Lake Speed, Morgan Shepherd, and Michael Waltrip. All right there. Here comes Earnhardt. This just should be an incredible finish here. If you're just joining us, stay with us. Just a few more laps to go at this Winston Select 500. Winston Select 500 from Talladega. 174 out of 188 laps completed. Jimmy Spencer is the leader. Sterling Marlin second. Morgan Shepherd, Dale Earnhardt, Michael Waltrip, and Ernie Irvin moving to the inside of Michael on turn 2.
He has a fast race car. Ernie Irvin, everything is okay on it. Apparently the weather is okay now.
Musgrave went with him, trying to help Ernie out, trying to help himself and Ernie out.
Yeah, he knows if he can follow that 28, stay right on his bumper, he's going to gain a lot of positions. Ken Schrader, he thinks the same thing.
Schrader's trying to figure out who to go with. Now he chooses Michael. Well, now he chooses Musgrave.
Yeah.
Now I don't know which one.
He's looking for his best opportunity and can't decide which one it is. Darrell Waltrip behind Kyle Petty. Bobby Hamilton is there also. Hamilton on the lead lap in 16.
17 cars on the lead lap again. We got down to 15. Walter and Carroll and Mike Wallace got back on the lead lap. Thanks to caution.
Certainly we'll have a new record speed-wise set here today because of two very lengthy caution periods. Just joining us, we had two multi-car crashes, but everybody is okay. 156.410 is the race average at the moment. And look at this.
Earnhardt and Irvin going together to get by Morgan Shepherd. They make it. Here comes Michael Waltrip trying to go as well.
He needs for Ken Schrader to come on and help him. Morgan Shepherd is going to pick up the draft of Irvin there. And maybe move right on back out there. He does.
Jimmy Spencer, the McDonald's car, leading. That's the red car, the 4. Sterling Marlin is second. Earnhardt is third. Ernie Irvin is fourth.
They cross the stripe and there are 11 laps to go.
Talking about Sterling Marlin win the $1 million. Nick Gary is exactly right. He has a chance. Pick up at least $100,000 today if he can win this race. Looks like he got a little bit loose as Earnhardt's trying to go by on the outside. And he's going to make it.
Yes, he is. Sterling may be hung out on the low side. Meanwhile, Spencer pulls away just a little as the battle for positions behind him were occurring. But Earnhardt and Irvin will catch up quickly, it appears.
Boy, Marlin really lost out in that deal. He got down on the inside. He's still down there. Can't get back in line. Goes from second to 26th.
And then he told me yesterday he wasn't going to think about that $1 million till 10 laps to go. Then he was going to start thinking about it. There's 10 laps to go. And he sees them all flying right out the window.
Yep. All the way to the back of the lead pack. Tough chore to get back up through there, too.
Sure is, with the quality of cars we have up front. Spencer, Earnhardt, Irvin.
Spencer knows that he's a sitting duck there. He doesn't know how much Earnhardt has. He knows Ernie Irvin has a lot. You got a Chevrolet sandwich between those two Fords and then another Ford and then a Pontiac.
Irvin came into the race 25 points ahead of Dale Earnhardt in the battle for the Winston Cup. Jimmy Spencer, 26th in the point standings coming in. They lap some slower traffic. Ricky Rudd and Jeff Gordon. Situation reminds me so much of the IROC race that was run here yesterday when Steve Kinzer got into the lead, and I think that most people, including myself, quite honestly, thought that with him out front, he would be the most unlikely to win the race, that everybody would gang up and pass him, but he did not, or they did not, and Kinzer went on to win the race. And
well, if Earnhardt and Ernie Irvin work together to get by Spencer, then he is a sitting duck. But, folks, Dennis Schrader passes Walter to take over the 5th spot. If they work together, then they can get by Spencer. If they start fighting each other, Jimmy's going to say, see ya.
If they get side by side battling each other, that will give Spencer the advantage.
Down to 7 laps to go.
I don't think it's time yet to make the move.
The fans anticipated it.
The fans are just going crazy. Okay, so when is the time to make the move?
I'd say a couple of laps to go.
Probably. I think Earnhardt's exactly where he wants to be. Because if he gets in front, he's going to make that race car awfully wide for Ernie Irvin.
Earnhardt, a 6-time winner here.
Irvin's trying Earnhardt to make his... Well, we see Greg Sachs and Ted Musgrave side by side. As Musgrave is a loser, he's got no one to go with him. I think Irvin wants to go with Earnhardt and pass him at the same time as they get by Spencer. That would be his #1 priority, because he realizes if Earnhardt gets over by himself, it's very, very difficult to pass.
And those guys back in the back just doing that jump around, they got no choice. They need to get themselves in position as quickly as they can to pick up some extra positions.
Jarrett, his wounded racer on the bottom of the racetrack, the Interstate Battery Chevrolet.
Battered up pretty good on the right side.
2 laps down goes Dale.
He's in 21st position.
Is Earnhardt going? Is he going?
Ernie says, let's go, Dale.
Okay, he did it with 5 laps to go. I think he saw an opportunity and, okay, let me try it.
Ernie decided to back off and go with Spencer.
How about that? That's somewhat surprising.
That is a shock.
Now, can Earnhardt stay in the lead? Or will the Fords gang up on the Chevy? He's got 3 Fords knocking on his door.
Yeah, it's a long way back to the Chevrolet of Ken Schrader. Now he's trying to make a move up on the outside of Morgan Shepherd. He's trying to foil that Ford deal.
And he did.
And Morgan Shepherd is caught down low. And the fans are just going absolutely crazy in the grandstands.
Now, if Michael Waltrip and Ken Schrader can hook up together, which they are, get a little momentum going, they can be a factor in this thing.
Tell you what, Ernie Irvin's car is just not right. Well, it doesn't appear as though he's not staying on the back bump of those cars in front of him to the corner like he...
Now Ernie looks to the inside of Spencer on turn number 3. And he forces Spencer up high. Here's Jerry Punch.
A lot of concern on the left side of the spoiler on Ernie Irvin's car. A couple of cars behind Irvin's on the left side of that spoiler. Now it looks loose like the right side did earlier when they fixed it. So keep an eye on Ernie Irvin, simply the left rear spoiler.
And Spencer is going for the lead. A slow car up there. He and Earnhardt almost touch.
Man.
Wow.
Spencer is to the inside.
He needs some help, though, and there's a Chevrolet. Earnhardt's got him a buddy out there with Ken Schrader.
And there's Ernie back here. Michael Waltrip chooses Spencer. And he's going to go try to go by Spencer.
Oh, my. 3 wide into turn 3. Michael survives. In fact, has a half-car length advantage on Earnhardt.
And Earnhardt's on his outside. Here they come side by side.
2 laps to go when they cross the line. Wow, what a race. This has to be one of the best races I have ever seen. 12 cars are hooked together, and each of them could win. Michael Waltrip is running second. Behind him, a side-by-side battle between Spencer and Schrader, with Ernie Irvin looking on. And Michael Waltrip add to the list of the drivers who has won his first NASCAR Winston Cup race here at Talladega. Spencer goes inside of Earnhardt once again for the battle of 4th.
Inside of Irvin.
Irvin, I should say.
They come off the corner there, side by side, Irvin and Spencer. Very, very close. Now they're side by side and they're losing ground.
The white flag is coming out. One more lap to go around the 2.6-mile Talladega Superspeedway. It is Earnhardt, Michael Waltrip, and Ken Schrader running first, second, and third, and then Ernie Irvin. And behind Irvin, a tremendous battle for position involving several cars. Irvin sneaks up on Ken Schrader.
Boy, he had him a run going, and Michael Waltrip tried to go by Earnhardt. Earnhardt made the track awfully wide, and he suspected he would do.
Here comes Ernie. Ernie to the inside. He's got second. Now sets his sights on Dale Earnhardt as the cars approach corner number 4. They come into the tri-oval. Let's just listen and see who wins the Winston Select 500. Talladega. Dale Earnhardt wins the Winston Select 500. We'll be right back.
One word. And Dale Earnhardt climbs out of this big Chevrolet, grabs his daughter Taylor Nicole, and gets a kiss from Teresa. Dale, congratulations.
Well, thank you. It was a great race today for us, and we're lucky to win it. I want to send our thoughts and prayers to the family of Eric Senna and all his fans. He was a great racer, and it's a shame to see him go like he did. You know, it's tough, but you know, we had a pretty good day. Our car was right there all day. I don't think it was the fastest or the strongest, but it just kept on coming back to the front and kept on, you know, jockeying for position there. We got sort of ping-ponging around there a little bit at one time, but it got better.
Now, toward the end, it looked like you got surprise after surprise. First Michael Waltrip and then Ernie Irvin.
Yeah, they were running at us, and that's what they were supposed to do. They were supposed to try to win, too. I thought Michael drove a great race, and he was right there all day. It was a little rough out there at 27 car. He thought he was still at Martinsville or Wilkesboro. He was into the side about everybody out there.
Dale Earnhardt gets win number 7, his 3rd on the year, and a belated 43rd birthday present. He was 43 on Friday.
And it's his 38th Superspeedway win, moving him ahead of Bill Elliott and Darrell Waltrip on the all-time list. We'll be right back with more from Talladega Superspeedway. Well, in 2 weeks, we will be at Sears Point International Raceway, Sonoma, California, for the road race by these NASCAR Winston Cup drivers. Our congratulations to Dale Earnhardt on his win here this afternoon, and my thanks to Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you in 2 weeks for more NASCAR Winston Cup racing. For now, this is Bob Jenkins. So long, everyone.